The Phoenix Union November Governing Board meeting will begin in approximately 5 minutes.
The special meeting is called back to order. Will the secretary please note that all board members are present? First item on the agenda is 3B, motion to adjourn executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn executive session?
I motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion to adjourn has been made by Board Member Pastor Rivera and seconded by Clerk Oliver. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is 3C, motion to instruct the designated representatives of the public body regarding matters discussed in executive session as necessary. Is there a motion to affirm the instructions given to representatives of the public body in executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion to affirm the informed instructions given to representatives have been made by Clerk Oliver and seconded by Board Member Pastor Rivera. Is there any discussion? On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3D, motion to adjourn the special meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn the special meeting?
I motion.
Is there a second? A motion to adjourn has been made by Board Member Pastor Rivera, seconded by Board Member Cross. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. The regular meeting is now called to order. Will the secretary please note that all board members are present? Please note that today's meeting is being live streamed. We also provide Spanish interpreting services available at the side of the room.
Si necesita intérprete en español, favor de mirar a nuestro intérprete que se encuentra a un lado del cuarto. Gracias.
The first item on the agenda is 1C, Pledge of Allegiance and Moment of Silence. We will stand as Board Member Pastor Rivera leads us in a Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing while a moment of silence is observed. Please be seated. Next item on the agenda is 1D, Land Acknowledgement Statement. Please remain seated as Board Member Cross reads the PXU Land Acknowledgement Statement.
Phoenix Union High School District is responsible for and committed to creating educational environments that prioritize the achievements of Native American students. We are committed to making their cultural identity visible by acknowledging that our school district resides upon the ancestral lands of the original caretakers, the Hugum ancestors of Alkimero Otham, Ankh, Akimero Utham, Todapa, Okum, Atham, and Akchin. These sovereign nations are presently known as the Gila River Indian Community, Salt River Pima, Maricopa County Indian Community, Tonah Nation, and Akchin Indian Community. This formal acknowledgement is dedicated to the 22 sovereign nations of Arizona. Phoenix understands the importance of providing reparations through truth-telling. We recognize the historical injustices not traditionally taught in the classroom, and we are committed to practicing prioritizing Native American knowledge, history, representation, and healing. We commit with an open mind to always respect the land and history and its ancestors.
Thank you, Board Member Cross. Board Member Meyer, will you please present the art display?
Trevor G. Brown High School is proud of its long-standing tradition of supporting students through the arts. The Visual Arts Department remains committed to encouraging creativity, self-discovery, and meaningful exploration through artistic expression. This showcase features outstanding works from drawing and painting, ceramics, and explorations of art. These pieces not only reflect the technical skill of the students, but also their personal journeys, ideas, and voices. Art at Trevor Brown is more than a subject. It's a space for students to express themselves, find calm, and connect with the world around them. The visual arts teachers believe in the lasting value of creative thinking and the power of visual storytelling in everyday life. They are especially excited for the dedication and imagination of their Arts Seal students' upcoming projects. The Trevor Brown visual arts students are using creativity and problem solving every day, and the results speak for themselves. Please enjoy their hard work, talent, and vision, and thank you for supporting the arts at Trevor G. Brown High School.
Thank you, Board Member Meyer. Next item on the agenda is 2A, recognitions and accomplishments. Good evening. It's a great honor of mine to welcome Ms. Leandra Maris to the podium this evening for our recognitions and accomplishments agenda item. November is Native American Heritage Month at PXU. We celebrate the beautiful culture and significant contributions of our Native American students, staff, families, and communities. Tonight, Ms. Maris, one of our incredible Native American advisors, is joined by 12 students, 5 staff, and 1 former PXU student to provide a celebration of our students and their accomplishments, and to provide a performance for the audience. We will close the recognition with our principals coming to the front of the room to receive their copies of the PXU Land Acknowledgement to hang proudly and prominently on their campuses. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Maris and our amazing Native American Education Program students to the podium.
Thank you, Ms. Napa. Yat and Halito Chichikma. Hello, everybody. My name is Leandra D. Maris. I'm a proud member of the Navajo Nation, and I'm also a proud member of the Choctaw Nation. I am honored to serve in the Native American Education Program, or NAEP, here at the Phoenix Union High School District. This program is incredibly special because not all Native students across the United States have access to a program like this. The work we do is unique, meaningful, and deeply rooted in community and culture. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the amazing team that I work with. Our program is led by our Director of Teaching and Learning, Ms. Karen Cardenas. And I am extremely blessed to work alongside Ms. Diana Taliemtua from the Hopi Nation, Ms. Tiana Billy from the Dene Nation, Ms. Jennifer Brown from the Cherokee, Choctaw, and Sioux Nations, and Ms. Miranda Pucha from the Hopi and Tana'atam Nations. We are also proud to collaborate with the Gila River Indian Community Tribal Education Office, which provides additional supports for our GRIC students. Please join me in recognizing Ms. Anna Blackwater, Ms. Anastasia Russell, and Ms. Sherilyn Anala for their continued partnership and dedication. Man, it is a good day to be Indigenous. This month, Native American Heritage Month invites us to reflect, recognize, and unite. It is a time to honor the rich culture, traditions, and teachings of Native American and Alaska Native communities. We celebrate the resilience, the strength, and beauty of our people, while continuing to educate others and about the unique challenges our communities still face today. We take this time to honor our ancestors, our relatives, and our future generations yet to come. This is a time to uplift our Indigenous stories, our voices, our teachings, and our ways of life, because our presence, our cultures, and our contributions matter. At this time, I am honored to introduce some of our amazing student voices from the Native American Education Program. These students will be sharing their thoughts and reflections on Native American Heritage Month, the Land Acknowledgement, and their experiences within the Native American Education Program. Let's give a warm round of applause for the following students. We have Miss Layla Enos from Camelback High School joining us. We have Miss Caitlin Coleman from Alhambra High School. And we have Miss Sierra Villacana from South Mountain High School.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I just wanted to start off by saying how grateful and excited I am to be here speaking in front of you all tonight and the Phoenix Union High School District community about the amazing things the Native American Education Program has done for me. My name is Layla Enos. I'm white. I'm Navajo, white, born for the Deer Spring Clan and the Tangle People Clan. I'm a student at Camelback High School, enrolled in the Montessori Micro School. Out of the many things NAEP has done for me, showing me who I truly am has been the most memorable. Coming into high school, I just knew one thing about myself. I'm Navajo. I didn't grow up on the reservation or have even been there. I didn't grow up speaking my language, but through NAEP, I've had opportunities like going to unity events where I met amazing people. I was inspired to find out more about my heritage. I'd grown a closer relationship with my Native family and to my Native roots. With the help of Miss Leandra Maris, I've started to learn my introduction of who I am in Navajo. Through things like Unity, which was introduced to me through NAEP, I was inspired and since have stepped up and taken a leadership position at my school's Native American Youth Council. NAEP not only gives us different opportunities, but has shown us, the students, how to be leaders. I'll forever be grateful for what NAEP has given to me. Thank you.
Yat esh Caitlin Coleman Yanshe, na kaidana and Shle, Ashihan Bashichin, Sadiskijni Edashache, Kentlachini Edashanele. Hello everyone, my name's Caitlin and I am Navajo and I go to Alhambra High School. I am a senior and I am one of the very few who are participating in the PXU pageant for Miss PXU Indian. And this is what I wrote today. Native American Heritage Month is important because it helps honor the history, culture, and contributions of the indigenous people. It helps remind us that we should keep our traditions alive. Native American History Month is here to show that we are still here on these lands and that we as a community are resilient to anything that comes our way. Nothing will get rid of us. The land acknowledgement is here to represent the tribes that roamed these lands centuries ago. It helps us show our respect for our ancestors and our respect for those lands that we're on today. This helps our community and PXU to build awareness about the importance of the indigenous presence and the history behind it. NAEP helped me recognize that being Native American is a blessing and that I should cherish and embrace it. This program helped me find myself as a person and helped me connect with my culture more than I've ever been. I now go to school in my regalia to represent my tribe and culture and walk with passion.
Hello everyone. My name is Sierra Villacana and I go to school at South Mountain High School, and I'm also a proud member of the Fort Yuma Quechon tribe. NAEP is very important to me and other Native kids in the district. It has given me endless opportunities that I'm grateful for, and it gives other kids these opportunities as well. It's very important to know as a Native that there are these resources for you at your school. It's also good because it helps you get to know other Natives around the community as well. I have met so many friends in the NAEP community, and I'm glad to know that there's other Native people out there who go to my school and around my district. NAEP has impacted me in so many ways over the past 2 years. One of the first things it has impacted is it's made me way closer to my culture. As a Native who lives off the reservation, it's sometimes hard to keep up with these traditions and see family who lives there. But NAEP is like having another family that can relate to you. And overall, I'm very grateful for NAEP, and I'm very happy to be a part of the community.
Thank you, ladies. And as we celebrate Native American Heritage Month, we also take the time to honor the land we reside on and its original caretakers. It is important that we always acknowledge and reflect on the history of colonization and assimilation that led to the forced removal and displacement of indigenous peoples across this land. Today, I would like to recognize the Huhugam, the ancestors of the Akama'atam, Akama'atam, Dana'atam, and the Akchin peoples, who are presently known as the Gila River Indian Community, the Salt River Pima Indian Community, Dana'atam Nation, and the Akchin Indian Community, the very communities upon whose ancestral lands Phoenix Union High School District resides. I am proud to work for an educational institution that is dedicated to honoring these caretakers and the land it stands upon. PXU continues to show its commitment to Native American student achievement and to recognizing the deep importance of the Land Acknowledgement Statement, both to our district and to the Native American community. At this time, I am honored to introduce current students, former students, and community members who will be sharing a cultural presentation, a basket dance to commemorate the PXU Land Acknowledgement. Please join me in welcoming Ellie Sok from Cesar Chavez High School, Nevaeh Blackwater from Cesar Chavez High School, Nina Delau from Bostrom High School, Sinai Antone from Betty Fairfax High School, Madison Antone from Betty Fairfax High School, Ivory Sok from Gila Crossing, and the singer for this evening's performance is going to be Miss Anna Blackwater. Please join me in giving them a warm round of applause as they share this beautiful and meaningful cultural dance with us.
Ani apchigik ana swikasik shikshadak ani akmeratam ani ki widget. Thank you everyone. Good evening. My name is Anna Blackwater. I am Akmeratam from the Hill River Indian Community District 6, and I am the student advisor for the Tribal Education Department here in PXU. I am based out at Betty Fairfax High School. And just like that, I'm an alumni from Cesar Chavez High School as well. And I enjoy my time with the students here. Again, I've been through the program, not only NAEP, but also our own tribal education program. And I just wanted to point out really quick, our lead dancer tonight is going to be Nina Delau. She's a senior right now, and she actually was one of the original dancers when we first had the land acknowledgement here. So that was when she was a freshman, and so now she's a senior, and we're very proud of her this year. And again, Ellie Sok is our current Miss Cesar Chavez High School, and Sinai Antone is our first attendant for Miss Indian Betty Fairfax High School. And then we also have Nevaeh Blackwater, who is a former Miss Indian Cesar Chavez High School. And then we also have Ivory Sok, who is a future PXU student. So thank you again. I hope you enjoy.
You need the microphone or not? To sing?
China. Hemoy ta vuva te noima ta na. Ga hamo amo amo. Je voy no oi noi ta la hemoy te na. Bai je va ka ta mai la paima. Go ma ge voy ta la he na je na. Hemoy ta vuva te noima ta na. Ga hamo hamo. Je voy no oi noi ta la he te na. Bai je va ge ta mai la paima. Thank you. Thank you.
Great job, everybody. All the principals up, you can like acknowledge, they'll get them.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the beautiful performance, enlightened words, and for honoring your heritage and culture in such a beautiful way. To close this agenda item, we ask that our principals please come to the front of the room to receive their land acknowledgement plaques. We ask that these be hung prominently near where the governing board and superintendent photos are placed in the front offices at your campuses. At this time, I also invite the governing board to join our student presenters for a group photo.
Can we get our student performers back in?
Can I just say one more thing, like a closing, while we get ready? Just now? Okay. And I'll just close really quickly. As we celebrate this month together, let's continue to build understanding, respect, and unity, not just in November, but all year long. Many blessings to each and every one of you, and we thank you for providing us with this time to commemorate Native American Heritage Month and the PXU Land Acknowledgement. Ahiahe yagoge, thank you.
Well done, very well. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break for tech setup guests. Just a quick reminder during breaks as a safety protocol, please refrain from approaching the dais. Thank you.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you so much. We are continuing. The next item is 3A, reports from student government. Tonight, we have student government representatives from Betty Fairfax High School, Desiderata Alternative, and Trevor Brown High School. Our student government representatives this evening will highlight their schools in this order: Sebastian Willingham and Haley Peavy from Betty Fairfax, Bondin Hinton and Ashley Orzoco Lopez from Desiderata, Luis Aguilar Munoz from Trevor Brown. Sebastian and Haley, welcome. You may take the podium.
Good afternoon, Governing Board. My name is Haley Peavy, and I am one of our senior co-presidents of Student Council.
Hi, my name is Sebastian. I'm the other senior. I'm the other student body president this year. I am also a senior.
So today we want to talk about some of our arts.
Our arts have done very well this year. We have a really great choir. We travel every year to compete. This year's competition in New York. Our band has done very well this year, and their show Metapocalypse has really helped them win 4th place in their competition this year. Next slide, please.
Next, we want to highlight, obviously, our Stugo. We've done really good this year. We won Most Lattice at a conference this year. We also have thrown a lot of events. As you can see on the slide, we have photos from conferences, First Fridays, Senior Sunrise, Homecoming, which is a huge success, and a lot of Friday night light games.
We've done a lot of college readiness this year. So this year, our counseling department has put together several Plan Your Future days where they've done FAFSA and College Common App, and also many other opportunities for us to get scholarships.
We've also have connected with the MBA Foundation that has given a lot of our African American students money for scholarships and just ways of getting better scholarships and just figuring out how to get ready for college. Like he said, plan your future days, getting ready for college, having college workshops, helping students apply if they aren't sure, and making sure at least 50% of our seniors get FAFSA done so we can get that money.
Well, we also have a very good IB program. This year, we were looking forward to our IB Day of Service, which is our big community service event, where we try to find ways to help the community. That's it. Oh.
It's okay.
Jesus.
It's okay. If it doesn't change, I know what our next slide is, so we can just go ahead and talk about it. Yeah? Okay, so our next slide, we're just going to highlight some of our fall sports and fall accomplishments that we have had. For example, our boys golf team won districts this year, so good to them, and 3 of them also placed within district. I think they got first, second, and fifth. I can't quite remember. And then our JRTC has also been amazing this year with our adventure team, I think it's called. And then also our sports have been doing amazing. Shout out to volleyball. I'm a volleyball player. Football. There we go. So our adventure team, they had brought home second, third, and fourth. And then for our boys golf, they placed second and third. And the rest of them placed top 5. And then we also, our flag football team did good this year. Our football team ended second in region. Our cheer is in a lot of competitions, and in general, we've had a good year.
Which cheer has qualified for nationals?
So that's our wrap up. At this time, we want to thank the governing board for giving us the time to directly report about the success, activities, and opportunities that are offered to the students at our school, as well as present the status of our plans to help our schools and their issues and concerns moving forward. Have a good meeting, and thank you.
Thank you.
Bondin and Ashley.
How does this work again? Okay. Thank you. My name is Bowden, and I'm the student body president of Desiderata.
My name is Ashley, and I am the vice president of student involvement at Desiderata.
Who we are. The Desiderata Alternative School that supports students who benefit from smaller school settings referred by their home schools. These students receive focused academic instructions along with support for their social, emotional behavior for growth.
From a student's point of view, for me, I'm a senior at DESI, and this is how DESI has helped me during high school. I struggle with anxiety and dealing with my emotions. Being at DESI showed me how to get out of my comfort zone and to socialize with new people. And now I stand here today thanks to the growth I made at DESI.
My name is Bowden Hinton, and I'm also a senior at Desiderata, and this is also how Desi has helped me during my high school years. I also struggle with anxiety in large crowds, but Desi has showed me on how to get out of my comfort zone and be the leader I was meant to be. I'm here presenting to you all because of the growth and changes that I have achieved. What our Stugo does. Our Stugo represents student ideas and concerns, help organize school events and activities, promote school spirit and pride, plan community service projects, improve the school environment, support student well-being, and encourage student involvement. Initiatives. Many of our students have been in small schools for a long time. As Stugo members, we strive to make DESI a place where students feel valued, supported, to reach their fullest potential, and we do this through our vision. DESI Stugo Vision. The Stugo vision is to create a safe, peaceful, positive, fun learning environment where students want to be and where they feel successful, supported, and unified. Safe. We encourage students to report unsafe things and discuss our concerns with campus safety with the principal once a month. Peaceful. We work at maintaining peace and minimize conflict by working to create peaceful spaces for students to regroup, murals, and atriums. Positive. We promote a positive mindset and encourage students to do the same and encourage them to help others through community service events such as the blood drive or volunteering at St. Mary's Food Bank or feeding my starving children. Fun. We strive to provide fun activities that both staff and students can participate in our lunchtime house competitions, dances, and end of semester celebrations. Successful. We acknowledge student success in our weekly announcements and through incentivizes such as monthly pizza parties for perfect attendances. Supported. We offer support to students that are struggling and encourage them to ask for support. Unified. We create activities that bring people together, such as our advisory/launch competitions, tournaments, and spirit weeks.
Community building. Things we do for community building are advisory team lunch competitions, spirit weeks, community service events, house competitions, awareness months and days, LGBTQIA+ club, school dances, shark teeth and daily raffles, small school sports events.
Last year, when Desi and Dorada spoke at the board meeting, we requested an outdoor peace room. Here's a picture of the final product. We want to say thank you for listening and to meeting our request beyond our expectations. Thank you for all you've done. We love it. Thank you for listening and having us here today.
Luis. Welcome, Luis.
Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Andrade, President Napa, and all governing board members. So I'm Luis, the student body president for Trevor G. Brown High School and for the 2025 to 2026 school year. Next slide, please. So to start off, I would like to say that our academies are starting off amazingly. So the academies that we have in Trevor Brown are Health and Human Sciences, Global Business and Media, Education and Industry, and the Emerging Technologies. Still the same slide, though. No, still the same slide. Sorry. In the Health and Human Sciences Academy, the medical assisting students have hosted their free vital sign clinic for all TGB staff, which would include blood pressure, pulse, respiration, temperature, and oxygen saturation. For the sports medicine, they provided 32 units of blood during their first blood drive in the school. For our Global Business and Media Academy, DECA officers have attended their Camp DECA to develop their leadership skills and to plan out DECA activities. Along with that, the DECA chapters have been working on completing DECA chapter campaigns. Those campaigns focus on promoting DECA in and outside of school with community service, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Marketing 3-4 students have completed their first project before fall break, and they created a storefront window display with lots of great work. Graphic Design 1 and 2 students have worked on album covers, build resumes last week, and created great stuff also. Graphic Design 3-4 students have collaborated with Stugo and created homecoming posters and are currently learning basic photography. Film and TV 1 and 2 have progressed through video editing with their self-projects or for clients. They have created original stop-motion video productions and are currently completing their 4th field assignment, which involved camera shots, video movements, and angles. For Film 3 and 4 students, they have produced their third video intending for publication for specific targeted audiences. We are progressing through vertical videos, producing using professional cameras, and will begin Adobe certification next week. Film and TV internships have been working on a great variety of things, and including podcasts, creating marketing campaigns, IG, TikToks, and hyping up the academy and the class itself. Likewise, 3-4 has been beginning their Adobe certification classes next week. In a month or two, they'll begin to travel to Walter Cronkite to tour the PBS studios, which will be a lot of fun. And last thing, we didn't write on it, but our Academies of Emerging Technology has also started their new program, or are joining a new program for semiconducting, and their plan is to hopefully have all students that are joining to have a future in the semiconducting industry. Next slide, please. Now, in August 27th, our ribbon cutting ceremony, we had it for our new building, which is the 5000 building. This building is home to our new front office, Health and Human Sciences Academy, and the Emerging Technologies Academy. Next slide, please. We are the first Phoenix Union student to school to participate in the AIA sanction event for the unified team. We hosted a district bocce ball tournament in September, and we'll be hosting a district basketball tournament in December. Our band Progress has been doing great things, receiving third place overall in recent competitions. Next slide, please. Now, Mecha hosted their annual Dia de los Muertos event on Friday, highlighting why this day is so culturally special to TGB. TGB was also the first school to hold the taste test tour for the district food service. And we had two options, which we can taste and rate, and many students really loved that. Stugel has also held their second club rush this year, and our goal for TGB Stugel, is to have all students involved in TGB. Next slide, please. HOSA is hosting blood drives more often, trying to help and save those in need. They recently have received 49 donations and saved 147 lives. Medical assisting students are now certified in CPR and will be helping teaching CPR in all mental health classes. Next slide, please. Now, it has been a really busy first semester for TGB, and this last slide will show the highlights of this. JRTC has been in the adventure team, learning to survive in the woods. Stugel has been providing face painting and sporting events and Friday Spirit Days. Be a Leader has also been attending conferences to help prepare for colleges for all students. Link Crew has hosted their tailgate parties and for freshmen, have hosted their tailgate party for freshmen before the homecoming games, and band has been scoring amazingly in recent competitions. Several students have also excelled on their own, and that is a great thing also. Now, Helping Those in Need, or HTIN, has also been accepting new teddy bears to donate for Phoenix Children's Hospital through November 19th. Overall, TGB is a great place to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Stugo. I really appreciate the time that you take to make these reports, especially from schools at Betty Fairfax and Trevor Brown. It's a long drive here. One thing that I would encourage in future reports is please include the challenges, just as we have in the previous academic year and in previous reports, things that need attention on your campus and how we can help. Do you want to come up? Next agenda item is 3B, reports from employee organizations. Our representatives reporting tonight are Mr. Esteban Flemons, CTA President, Ms. Anastasia Jimenez, CEA President, Ms. Vanessa Casillas, ADA President, and Ms. Laura Taylor, PUFE Executive Director. Poof.
Good evening, President Napa, Superintendent Andrade, governing board members, community and staff in attendance here and virtually. I'm Esteban Flemons, President of the PXU CTA, and I stand before you representing over 1,000 certified staff here in PXU. I'm proud to stand before you as an alumni, an employee, and a voter in PXU. Shout out to Ward 3. This board deserves credit right now for giving us a place to address you all as an employee groups. Even though I know we're going to enter difficult times and the conversations are not going to be easy, we appreciate the opportunity to speak directly and not have our voices taken away. First off, I want to thank the PXU community, voters who helped pass both of our overrides by massive margins, over 60%. The support that you have all showed PXU is amazing. Thank you to all the district staff, admin, classified, and certified volunteers, and most importantly, the board members who stepped up to canvas for the betterment of this district. A big shout out to my CTA Political Action Group who's in the room for coordinating events and getting people out and involved. Canvassing made this thing work, so thank you all for the support that you gave us. On the other side of that, to those of you who actively campaigned against us, I hope you recognize that the employees, families, and this community are not on your side. They do not share your belief that PXU, the staff, and the students do not deserve support, dignity, functioning schools, smaller class sizes, technology to help them advance, and to be able to pay staff what they can afford to continue to work in public education. They believe in this district, and they believe in PXU more than any post on X, podcasts, or quotes from a politician on what we should or should not be doing here. We are going to enter tough times. Let's not sugarcoat it. I have spent more time in the last month talking to members about theoretical futures than I care to. People are worried about their jobs now and in the future. We've been working with the district to find the best solutions to tough decisions, and it's hard. But there's not a single reason or one simple idea that fixes these complex problems, regardless of what a news article says or someone tweets. Creating a space for these conversations to be had with dignity and respect, with solutions in mind, is the best thing that we can do right now until we can correctly fund public schools in Arizona. We will continue to work through our approved process to find solutions, and I hope that all these things are not hindered by some cheap attempts to undercut this work for a 2-second bit on local news. So that's all the fun stuff. So what I'd like to say is we'd like to work together forward with dignity and solutions and care, and we're going to be looking to work together over the next several months. Now the part that I like to do is actually talk about our wonderful certificated staff here with our PXU CTA props. And our winner for props this month is Dr. Annette Wright-Scott, who is the pharmacy teacher at Metro Tech. In the nomination from Dr. Wright-Smith they spoke about all the clubs and organizations that she runs on the campus and the work she does in the community as a whole. She has a lifetime of being rooted in PXU's community. And to quote the person who nominated her, Miss Yolanda Jackson, though Dr. Wright-Smith is quiet and humble with all that she does, it gives me extreme pleasure to nominate this well-rounded individual because she puts her best foot forward in all that she does. It is a delight to let others know what I know about this phenomenal woman. She is one that keeps her account full so she is able to give the most to others without being in the red. She does not ask for much and stays in the shadows while doing what is needed to be done. My hope is that others will read this and join me in highlighting our hidden jewel at Metro Tech. So if you all please give me one more round of applause for Dr. Annette Wright-Smith, the CTA Props recipient from November 2025. So she gets this lovely plaque and a lovely gift card so she can go out to dinner on the back. So to leave, I want to leave everyone here watching live, watching on YouTube later on. I wish you all love and support from CTA during these uncertain times. With CTA, we are here to do the good work of the district and with anyone who aligns with what is best for students and families in PXU. I am always here and willing to engage with anyone in a conversation. So if you ever have a question, please don't hesitate to reach out for a coffee or a chat. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Ms. Anastasia Jimenez.
All right, good evening, everybody. Is this on? Test, test. Yeah, got it, thank you. Good evening, Phoenix Union community members, educators, and allies. Thank you to our Superintendent Andrade, President Napa, and governing board members for their ongoing dedication to this district. I want to take a moment and sincerely thank everyone who voted or contributed to passing our M&O and DAA election. Our community showed up and through your votes advocated for the future of our PXU communities and for all of the lives we touch through our district social service center, more or less, that we are. This was a vote for equity and an honorable display of stewardship by our property owners and taxpayers alike. Our students deserve quality tools, technology, programs, buildings, and educators that support their learning and growth throughout their lives. Thanks to ADA, CTA, and to my CEA members who dedicated their personal time to promote the importance of adequately funded schools across the state. It was especially inspiring to see our own governing board members actively working to sustain our district through community efforts. So thank you all. Unions and, I'm sorry, let me jump ahead. You kind of get what I'm going for. So additionally, thank you to all those in the behind the scenes. I know I haven't publicly recognized you, and there are a few of our team members that were out there in the rain and out there knocking doors. And so I do want to uplift them, and CEA plans to uplift them shortly. Additionally, I want to thank the educators here today for your dedication and support of your associations. I recognize that we are under scrutiny as ongoing attacks on unions continue to directly impact our staff. Across all employee groups, our students are dealing with societal pressures that many of our own families face. Let me remind everyone that now is not the time to tear each other down in the name of being student-centered. Unions and employers have a long history of sometimes rocky relationships, but fear has never truly benefited either side, at least not in a sustainable way. What legacy will we leave as a district, as a union members, and as allies? What will we tell those who come after us? When facing such challenges, we need to look deeper and beyond ourselves to see the bigger picture. Our society and communities are resilient, but they're still struggling. With SNAP benefits being withheld, school violence, and families being torn apart without due process, fear is driving many of our decisions. And how can I blame us? We're human. Once we let go of stigma, stereotypes, arrogance, and the misconceptions we hold against each other, we see that our fears can subside. I refuse to live in fear, at least I try to. No one wants to be in the hot seat that is leadership, especially right now, because we are not in ideal times, but however, please be mindful of your blessings and count them. Uplift one another and start to see the change that you as an individual can enact beyond yourself. In closing, I appreciate the continued invitation alongside our sibling associations, CTA and ADA, on behalf of the majority of our respective employee groups here in PXU. And so thank you for having us tonight. And I'll be honest, my script changed a bit just within the last 2 hours. And so I do want to acknowledge that we as classified employees and as the leader of the Classified Employees Association, I hear your voices, and frankly, member or not, because at this point, it's going to affect all of us. And so I stand behind, a skilled, determined, dedicated, and committed beyond belief group of employees. And they're here today with me, and thank you for being here today and showing solidarity and showing up for your district, showing up for your community, and showing up for one another. So thank you.
Mrs. Vanessa Casillas.
Good evening, Superintendent Andrade, President Napa, and esteemed members of the Governing Board. First, we're happy to celebrate and acknowledge Native American Heritage Month. It was a beautiful celebration. I want to share our deep appreciation and excitement that the override continuation and budget increase passed. Thank you to all of our associations, PUFI, CEA, CTA, and ADA, as well as our executive team and governing board, and anyone in our community who supported the override by voting for it. Your commitment and advocacy made a tremendous difference for Phoenix Union. I also want to acknowledge that we are entering a very difficult time. Many of our students and staff are struggling due to the ongoing government shutdown, and we are now preparing for the reality of potential position reductions. These decisions weigh heavily on all of us. We appreciate the Governing Board and Cabinet for acting early on the RIF process. By doing so, you have given every employee group the time and clarity they need to consider opportunities both within and outside the district, as they plan for next school year. While these choices are incredibly hard, we understand that they are necessary to ensure Phoenix Union can continue to thrive long term. Please know that we stand with each and every one of our employees. We will continue doing everything we can to support our teams and to preserve as many positions as possible. Thank you for your leadership, your transparency, and your unwavering commitment to our students, staff, and community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Laura Taylor?
President Napa, members of the board, Superintendent Andrade, it's a pleasure to be here this evening. It is scholarship season for the Phoenix Union Foundation for Education. Our scholarship application opened on September 2nd and will close on January 12th, 2026. By completing the application, a student is eligible for multiple scholarships. They have until January 12th, 2026 to complete it, but we are wanting everyone in contact with a PXU senior to encourage them to complete their application by the end of the year. The application for readers is also open, and this is a great way to do short-term volunteering with the foundation and provide a service that is really needed. You'll find that application through the QR code that's on the screen, as well as on our website under Get Involved. The mini grant recipients for the spring semester 2026 were just awarded. There are 14 awardees representing 10 different schools. I know this list may be difficult to read, and we've got 2 slides of them. So we will also be highlighting them in our newsletter and posting on the website under what we do. We had great applications and much diversity in the projects funded through mini grants. Save the date, there we go. Save the date, and you will soon be receiving your official save the date for the Community Partner Fundraiser scheduled for February 19th, 2026 at the Corona Ranch and Rodeo Grounds. This year's theme is Under the Western Sky, where community comes together for connection and celebration. That volunteer committee is well underway, and we're planning a great event and working towards fundraising, being very successful at fundraising much needed funds for our scholarships and mini grants. It is at this event that we recognize our community award winners. The nomination forms for these community awards have been sent out, and they're listed on the next slide. While PXU chooses the Counselor of the Year recipient from the nomination forms, the PUFE board chooses the Friend of Phoenix Union and the Alumni of the Year recipients from those nominations. So please consider nominating a community member who supports and/or has demonstrated a significant commitment to PXU and the Phoenix community. And our last slide shows you that, as always, we strive to make it really easy to donate to the foundation. Are there any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. The next agenda item is for a call to the public.
According to ARS 38-431.01H, at the conclusion of the call to the public, members of the public body may respond to criticism made by those who address the public body, may ask the staff to review a matter, or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. However, members may not discuss or take legal action on matters raised during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. We would like to caution members of the audience about commenting on a particular individual, and thank you for not referring to any person by name. In order to avoid any concerns with interpretation services, please be aware of the following. We have a Spanish interpreter available to join you at the podium while you address the governing board. Only the PXU assigned interpreter will provide interpretation services. If you have a script on paper or on a device, we ask that you make it available for the interpreter. In order to provide accurate interpreting, we ask that you speak for approximately 2 to 3 sentences at a time and pause for interpreting. You will be given double the amount of time to address the governing board as a result. As usual, we ask that you end your comments when your official time allotment has ended.
Para evitar dificultades con los servicios de intérprete, tenga en cuenta lo siguiente. Tenemos un intérprete de español disponible para acompañarlo mientras se dirige a la mesa directiva. Solo el intérprete asignado por el distrito proveerá servicios de interpretación. Si tiene su mensaje en papel o electrónicamente, le pedimos que lo ponga a disposición del intérprete. Para brindar una interpretación precisa, le pedimos que hable aproximadamente de 2 a 3 oraciones a la vez y haga una pausa para el intérprete. Como resultado, se le dará el doble del tiempo para dirigirse a la mesa directiva. Como de costumbre, le pedimos que finalice sus comentarios cuando termine su tiempo asignado. Gracias por su cooperación.
All right, let's get started. Presentations tonight are limited to a maximum of 2 minutes. Tonight, we have the option for members of the public to participate in person and virtually. We will start with our speakers who's registered online. Tonight, we have one request to speak online. Caller, please state your name, indicate the agenda item or topic you wish to speak about, and limit your presentation to 2 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, President Napa, members of the board, Superintendent Andrade, and leadership team. My name is Praful Nidram, a proud Phoenix Union School psychologist and a Phoenix resident. Today, I want to spotlight something simple and powerful, using social media to connect with our communities and families. This is no longer a trend, but an essential component of our organization. In the last 2 years, our leadership and marketing team shifted this strategy by empowering campuses to lead authentic storytelling for our communities. First, a shout out to our Trevor Brown student whose Instagram post captured what our bond dollars make possible. New facilities turning dreams into realities for our students. That is accountability you can see and feel. Second, applause for the new kids on the block. Central High School principal, Ms. Shield, and her team, who are building real connections with students, families, and community using social media. This is our motto in action, stronger together. This week is National School Psychology Week. We all know these are stressful times. Some days it feels like every room could use a psychologist, or everyone could carry a psych in their pocket. Too bad we don't fit. Jokes aside, I'm honored to represent a small team of 17 extraordinary school psychologists serving students across our district. We are committed to provide ethical, high-quality psychological services to our students. To our leadership, thank you for your unwavering support of school psychologists. And to my PXU colleagues, you are the best of the best. Together, we are building trust, telling the truth, and advocating for our students to thrive and achieve. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we're going to our in-person speakers. We'll call on those who requested to speak in person. We want you to state your name, indicate the agenda item or topic you wish to speak about, and limit your presentation to 2 minutes. Our first speaker will be Patrick Shanahan, followed by Fernando Sanchez. Come right up here to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Shanahan. I'm a teacher at Maryville High School, stagecraft teacher. Tonight I would like to speak about the Political Engagement Committee and the bond override. So I am a member, along with my fellow Shire members of the Political Engagement Committee. We just wanted to brag a little bit. We have been really active this election season. We have engaged with almost 2,000 registered voters in our canvassing campaigns. We've knocked on close to 1,500 doors and only had one slammed in our face. That was my wife's. We just wanted to thank all the people that helped. So we want to give a shout out to board members Napa, Oliver, Cross, Meyer, Marquez, Pastor, Rivera, and Superintendent Andrade, all part of our canvassing efforts. We had members from district admin, site admin, certified staff, classified staff, parents, and community members come and help us knock on doors. We also worked with Isaac, Phoenix Elementary, and Roosevelt teachers, community members. We knocked on those doors, and all three of those passed. And so we just wanted to let everybody know that our political engagement committee is active, and we've already started planning for next year's election. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shanahan. Fernando Sanchez is next, followed by Nidra Shepherd.
Madam President and Superintendent Andrade. I had a different plan for tonight, but we had kind of somewhat of an impromptu parent night at South tonight, so thank you for everyone that attended to that and for your guys' approval on having that. We had about, I think, probably like 50 parents show up tonight to kind of learn more about ELD and what's going on, and there were some questions asked that I'm sure will be addressed. But my original plan was, so it was a year ago when I first started coming here, and I was going to give you guys an update of like from this to like where we are now from where we started. But I think I'll probably just save that for another month because I'm kind of tired. But I do have to come up here because a couple of the ladies at work did ask me to speak on their behalf. So remember how last month I shared about how the .2s were not being paid out and like we needed those payments, and my colleagues were asking about it and they were really not getting any kind of a response from Talent. I just want to say that they have been paid. They were paid out to them on October, I think the October 21st check. Unfortunately, last weekend they received an email saying that they were overpaid for their .2s. They were paid double the amount, and that they would be garnishing those wages, kind of take the money back. But the girls are doing math, and I think they're winning because it kind of seems that their math isn't really matching the district math, and then we were kind of looking more into it, and it turns out that they never signed an agreement for the .2s that would state how much money they're getting. So all it was, like we were asked, who's interested in getting a .2? They said they were interested. They got the classes, they got the students, they did the work. But like in iVisions or Frontline, where we have to agree for the work and agree for the payment amount, that was never given to them.
Thank you.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye-bye. All right, next is Ms. Nidra Shepherd, and followed by Aaron Strasberg.
Good evening, Governing Board, President Napa, Superintendent Andrade, board members, community. I normally have a script, and today I do not, so here we go. First, I'd like to congratulate you for winning the bond for the election. I think that was a very good move for you to be able to see the camaraderie that you all experienced and being able to pass that bond. I know it was a landslide in passing, but it was a difficult time in which for people to vote for something that they may not be able to see. So I want you to continue to be transparent with how you are going to spend your bond money and make sure that you recognize people that have given you the loyalty, the dedication, made contributions for this district to support our futures, which are our clients, which are our children, which are our students. So I applaud you for your efforts in being able to pass the bond. I know I make people nervous when they hear my name when I'm getting ready to come up to the podium, but I intended to not do that this time, and I just want to thank you again for the opportunity and recognize this. The Honeycomb group back from the 1970s said, "One monkey don't stop no show."
Thank you. All right, Aaron Strasberg, followed by Ava Ganung.
My name is Aaron Strasberg, and I'm here today in response to October's meeting. The majority of the meeting bothered me significantly. It makes sense now why your district has lost 7% of your student population since last year. Low achievement, low expectations, lack of safety, and distorted belief systems are all contributing factors. I will begin with the controversial pride flag being displayed at the last meeting by nearly every board member and representative outside of board member Kota. This flag has been expressed to represent pedophiles as well. I know this has been discredited by the LGBTQ community. However, there is only one flag that represents this country, and that is the American flag. Representing other flags of a very small population creates significant division and animosity. I don't care what your preference is or how you identify, but I also don't want to cater to it or have it shoved down my throat or others' throats. Secondly, safety concerns and whether or not SROs, counselors, or metal detectors as a solution were brought up. We can debate this all we want, but public schooling truly made a significant turn for the worse when the Regent's Prayer was removed from schools back in 1962. This prayer reads, "Almighty God, we acknowledge our dependence upon Thee, and we beg Thy blessings upon us, our parents, our teachers, and our country." This is when we truly allowed Satan to take over our public schooling system with violence and other negative outcomes. Having police on campus who uphold the law and put public safety first is great for safety on campus. Having good quality counselors on campus can be helpful as well. Bringing God back into the school and the classroom will solidify the foundation of your district. Finally, it was appalling to see the academic levels at 23% with a pitiful goal of 25%. As board member Kota rightfully questioned, that means the goal moves from 77% of students not achieving to 75% not achieving. This shows that your expectations of your students and teachers are extremely low. This simply is unacceptable. Ideally, nearly every student would be achieving. It is time to start believing more in your students. I believe there genuinely needs to be a cleansing within this district. 2 Chronicles 7:14 states, "If my people are called by my name, humble themselves, pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal their land." God bless, in Yeshua's name.
All right, next we'll have Ava Ganung, followed by Jacqueline Bassett.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Ava Janung. I am a former educator, professional development specialist, teacher trainer, a former Arizona Christian University professor, and I've also done a lot of training through Grand Canyon University. The reason why I share that is with you is because I am passionate about teacher development. When we signed our contract 100 years ago in Ajo, Arizona, we signed a contract for 9 months of instruction. And after 9 months of instruction, we were promised that we would have 9 months of growth. And a lot of times that doesn't happen for a variety of reasons. What I know now through all of my trainings, I wish I knew back when I started teaching. But the good news is about education is that there is so much new research about how the brain learns. And I know as you are forming your new goals for next year and you're looking at your test scores and how you want to improve student achievement, one thing I want you to think about is that we are no longer teachers, but we're told that we are neuroeducators because we're in the business of growing brains. We can actually change our brain. It's called neuroplasticity. And we do that by developing master classes that are centered around how the brain learns best. For example, if you're in a classroom and you have a lot of activities that evoke motion, emotion, and meaning, it alerts your brain in a very subconscious way to pay attention to this new learning. Our brain is not a thinking machine, it's a feeling machine that thinks. And once our teachers realize that how they have to sculpt their lessons to encourage more movement, more energy, more questioning, getting the students out of their seats, things that sometimes teachers are not comfortable with, but when they know that they do this because
Thank you so much. Your time's up. All right, Jacqueline Bassett, followed by Dominique Peavy.
Standing. But I would just like to tell you that I was tall when I taught kindergarten, first grade, and even fourth grade. I want to thank you, every one of you, for serving. This is a huge job. I know it is, because in the classroom for 40 years, I was able to see a lot of what the governing board did. I was very fortunate. 40 years, and I looked to God because it was the only way I was going to survive. Anyway, I want to celebrate also because Saturday is a 50th birthday party that we've been invited to, my husband and I, for a student I had in kindergarten. And there will be other former students there as well. So that relationship building, that opportunity to serve and build relationships like that so you understand each other and stand for embrace the passion for truth is really what I believe in my heart. Because yesterday's home runs don't win today's games. Babe Ruth.
Thank you. Dominique Peavy. And our last speaker will be Rob Potts.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm here tonight as both a parent and a partner in education. I serve as the school secretary in Levine School District. I understand the importance of procedures, structure, and accountability. I have followed every step, meeting with the school administration to our district athletic director. But despite those efforts, I'm still facing serious and ongoing concerns that have left my daughter, who was just up here presenting for Betty Fairfax, feeling unsafe. After an incident at Alhambra High School, a deeply concerning incident occurred when the head with our varsity volleyball team. It caused my daughter to suffer a panic attack and run out of the team huddle. What's most troubling is that there was no follow-up or concern from any type of leader or coaching from that incident. Soon after, my daughter was removed from the team with no warning, no procedure, and actually breaking the PXU student-athlete handbook. She had to request to be reinstated, and she did so with grace. When she returned, both my daughter and several teammates who had submitted written statements about their experiences with the volleyball team were then benched and retaliated against. Despite a roster of over 22 girls, the same 7 girls, those are the ones who remained silent, were the only ones that were allowed to play. We have also raised serious safety concerns and conduct concerns, including allowing students to leave at away games unsupervised, without a coach, without an adult, having students drive a specific coach home, having team jerseys that were washed at a coach's house that came back reeking of marijuana, and continuing to harass and communicate with players.
Thank you. Your time's up. Our last speaker tonight is Rob Potts.
Good evening. My name is Rob Potts. I am a ESS facilitator at Trevor Brown High School. Tonight I'm coming to talk about a lot of stuff that I wish I could address. However, PXU is paying right now ESS contract teachers approximately $100,000 to $120,000 a year. Meanwhile, most of the dedicated TESS teachers in the district who stabilize campuses, support families, prevent crisis, top out below 95-ish thousand a year with the most years of service and highest education rate. At Trevor Brown, we have over 50% of our ESS staff is eligible for retirement as of Christmas. And an anonymous survey I took, 85% of which said they will be seeking employment elsewhere or at least exploring it for next year. They are not leaving ESS or education, they're leaving Phoenix Union, and this breaks my heart. I am here because I believe in this mission. I'm asking the district to believe in the people that are doing the work. A stipend for as little as $5,000 to $10,000 per teacher in certain areas, specifically hard to fill areas, is reasonable and competitive with our competitors around the district, which we'll be happy to take over right now 250 years of experience from Trevor Brown. It's well into the millions, over 1.5, roughly 2.1 if we lose all of those certified teacher to other districts. Where if we keep them, the stipends will save us close to, what is it, a half million to almost $1 million. So I implore you as leaders, union leaders, fellow educators, that we do the right thing and take care of our people.
Thank you. That concludes tonight's call to the public.
Thank you. We will take a 5-minute break. Guests, just a quick reminder, during breaks as safety protocol, please refrain from approaching the dais. Thank you.
Madam President.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Madam President, Superintendent Andrade, can you look into the incident with the volleyball team at Fairfax and report back by email to the board? Thank you.
Also, Madam President, can we look into the .2 pay and make sure that we audit it?
Board Member Pastor Rivera.
Madam President, can we also look into the transparency regarding the override funding and making sure that all leaders, association leaders, are a part of this discussion as well? And I just, oh, never mind.
Okay, 5 minutes. Can I get my mic? Oh, we're coming back now. Board Member Cross? Next item on the agenda is 5A, approval of consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second? I have to get a second. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to approve consent agenda has been made by Clerk Oliver, seconded by Board Member Pastor Rivera. Discussion.
I was actually hoping to discuss our
You want to pull an item?
Correct. Two
Which
items. 10A and 10B.
Okay. We go back to amending.
Sorry, yes. Who made the motion? Who made the original motion?
Clerk Oliver.
Clerk Oliver, will you move to approve the agenda without the items 10A and 10B, which have been pulled for discussion?
Yes.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay. And now can we approve the consent agenda without 10A and 10B since it's pulled? Is that a motion? I motion. Oh, no.
That's already the motion that's been made. That was the amended
Got it.
motion. So we're ready for a vote.
Okay. Roll call. Cota.
Yes.
Board Member Cross. Aye. Representative Marquez.
Aye.
Board Member Meyer.
Aye.
Clerk Oliver.
Aye.
Board Member Pastor Rivera.
Aye.
And myself is an aye. Motion carries. And now we can go to 10A.
Perfect. Madam President, Superintendent, so I actually just had some questions on both 10A and 10B. This is a contract, as I understand, correct, with a vendor that is providing contracting services with the district. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I guess my question was, I noticed two things. So on both items, there's actually, I guess I have a few questions. So one of the question was, are these overruns of costs that were not estimated at first, or can you just help me understand? Because it looks like these are change orders of maybe costs that weren't estimated at the time when the contract was first made.
Correct. President Napa, members, I believe what happened was we got the guaranteed maximum price at Carl Hayden, and then due to the outdoor eating structure being kind of co-built alongside it, they went back and reevaluated the GMP and increased it by $170,000 for the steel beams and the reinforcement around that. I will also divert to Dr. D'Alba if I've missed anything in that summary.
And sorry, if I can just interrupt here. If there are any differences between 10A and 10B, if we can make it clear which one we're talking about. I think both the questions were general, but I want to make sure that we specify if there are any differences between those issues.
President Napa, Board Member Cota, for 10A, there was damage and different things that were found after construction started. And so that's why the change order was submitted. For 10B, it had to do with the location and permitting requirements where we had to shift it a little bit. And so that caused additional cost. And so that's the reason for those change orders.
Madam President, Superintendent, thank you for the clarification. So I just want to know, so I looked at this, just caught my eye when I was actually reading this before the meeting. So item 10A has a 19% increase in cost, and item 10B has a 16% increase in cost. This is $322,000, 570. So in my mind, this is I guess my point is that we are trying to look at I know we're going to have a discussion about the budget, or we're at least going to have a presentation about it, and I just want to make sure that any type of cost, especially when it comes to contracting costs, that we are making sure that we are planning appropriately, because if it looks like an oversight because it was a change order. It wasn't expected, so it wasn't anticipated, it seems like. This is the same contractor that has done this, at least in this time. So I guess my next question would be, is this a normal overrun of costs when you have these types of projects happening?
Board Member Napa, President Napa, Board Member Cota, yes, it's normal because our structures, we have older buildings. Sometimes we go into stuff and there's a lot of surprises, let's say, that come up. And so it is. Also, just I appreciate the question about fiscal sustainability. There's two buckets that we use. One's M&O, which is mostly for salaries and benefits, and this is actually out of capital, which we cannot use for salaries and benefits. But we're always looking at evaluating and making sure that we are as efficient as possible.
Thank you.
Madam President, just one more item. So I do appreciate the feedback. I guess my point there being is just every time we have overrunning costs, our priorities just shift a bit. So I would just, I would hope the superintendent that we can just make sure that we are ensuring our costs are about as estimated as close as possible when they are initiated, so we don't continue to see overruns like this. Thank you.
Agreed.
Now we'll need a motion to approve.
Oh,
We can either do 10A and 10B. Oh, sorry.
Board Member Meyer.
Okay. Yeah, President Napa and Dr. De Alva, thank you for that explanation. No, I just wanted to see that I can see how when there's unexpected damages, given like how old our buildings are, that a change order like this is necessary, and change orders are common in like fields like this. I process them all the time at work, so I want to uplift the due diligence that you all do to make sure that we're on par with our target goals and making sure our budgets are balanced. So thank you.
Madam President?
Yes.
I move to adopt items 10A and 10B together.
I second.
Motion has been made to approve items 10A and 10B by Representative Marquez, seconded by Board Member Pastor Rivera. Roll call. Board Member Cota?
Aye.
Board Member Cross? Representative Marquez?
Aye.
Board Member Meyer?
Aye.
Clerk Oliver?
Aye.
Board Member Pastor Rivera?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion carries. Next item is 6A, Superintendent's Report. Ms. Andrade.
Thank you, President Napa, members of the board, and members of the community. Well, good evening. In addition to Native American Heritage Month this week, we celebrate our school psychologists for National School Psychology Week. Our PXU psychologists do absolutely incredible work with supporting our students and families' social and emotional needs. Our psychologists do their work with confidentiality, grace and integrity, and a whole lot of patience while ensuring that our students get the resources that they need to be successful. I just wanted to take this opportunity to give a huge thank you to all our school psychologists. Next, I want to celebrate, Next, I want to celebrate our College Board National Recognition Program awardees. The National Recognition Program spotlights students around the country that score in the top 10% on the PSAT or the PSAT 10. They can also win by earning a 3 or higher on 2 or more AP exams. But they must have a cumulative GPA of at least 3.3. And so far, just so far, because we're not finished yet, we have 8 students from Maryville Gifted and Talented Academy, 13 from Bioscience, 3 from North, and 7 from Camelback, and another 9 from Metro Tech High School. All names are listed on the screen for you this evening, and you will be celebrated on our social media channels and upcoming newsletters. Congratulations to all on this amazing accomplishment. Bioscience. Joining the group of academic accomplishments, we have 2 students from Bioscience who have earned the National Merit Scholar Recognition. National Merit Scholar Recognition Program is based on how a student performs in their junior year on the PSAT test. I'm excited to highlight 2 finalists for the National Merit Scholarship Program, the only 2 in Phoenix Union thus far, Charlie Perrault and Gavin Zeloff. Congratulations and good luck moving forward on this prestigious honor. Sticking with some more academic accolades, I wanted to celebrate our academic decathlon students. Last month, President Napa served as a judge, thank you, and Clerk Oliver attended the awards ceremony and presented honors to our scholars who flexed their academic muscles at this event. I want to also congratulate Maryville High School for earning first place overall and second place in the Super Quiz. Congratulations to all who attended and participated. Turning our attention to a group of incredible teachers, we had 3 Phoenix Union teachers chosen for the Fab Teacher Series in the FabulousArizona.com. Miss Carly Baca from the Academies at South Mountain, Miss Amanda Corona from Cesar Chavez High School, and Miss Jane Miller from Alhambra High School were recently featured. Each staff member was highlighted on the Fabulous Arizona website for their incredible work inside the classroom to reach and support students. Thank you for representing Phoenix Union, and congratulations to you all. Joining our fabulous staff honors is also our district wellness team. This year, they earned the Carolyn Mattingly Award for Workplace Mental Health by the Luvu Project. The award recognizes and celebrates exemplary organizations that advance the mental health and well-being of their workforce, while also serving as role models for other employers. The Phoenix Union team was recognized ahead of Clemson University and 4 other organizations for their exemplary work. Support our staff in their time of need. Congratulations to the PXU Wellness team, and thank you for all that you do. This next one, wow. We turn our attention now to a couple of PXU student awards. We're highlighting here Geraldine Perez Armenta for being named AZ Central Student of the Week. Geraldine is not only an exemplary member of the Maryville High School community as a senior, but she also serves on the Superintendent Advisory Council. So I'm a little biased here, but she is amazing. I've had the pleasure of getting to know her over the past year and a half, and I can tell you firsthand that this lady is a powerhouse, and she is going places and going to do things that matter. After high school, she plans to attend GCU, study nursing and pre-law, and ultimately wants to be a lawyer while also studying healthcare. And she's probably going to do it. That's the reality. Once you meet her, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Next, I want to celebrate Emily Perez from Carl Hayden Community High School for being named Miss Arizona Latina Teen. The pageant aims to promote personal and professional growth for young Latinas and celebrates cultural pride, empowerment, and leadership in the community. Congratulations, Emily, and thank you for being an incredible role model for your community, for Carl Hayden, and for Phoenix Union. In October, our very own Cesar Chavez cheer team performed on the field at the Cardinals game. I cannot share enough how much pride I had in watching these confident and amazing female athletes take the field and show their pride in their school and their community for the whole state to see. They are true examples of our theme, Stronger Together, in action. Congratulations, Chavez cheer. Last week, we had a really cool event in Phoenix Union. We had a special guest visit Carl Hayden High School, Daniel Suarez, the first Mexican-born NASCAR champion. He visited the Falcons to share his story and has inspired his students to chase their dreams. And I'm surprised they let him out of there. They surrounded him worse than paparazzi. We're so excited and so inspired. He took the time to talk to students, sign autographs, and give out free tickets to the most recent NASCAR event at the Raceway. I want to personally thank you for visiting Carl Hayden and taking the time to show our students that anything is possible. Recently, over 100 students from Alhambra, Carl Hayden, Cesar Chavez, Metro Tech, Coding Academy, and Linda Abril shared their powerful voices about building Arizona's workforce at the annual partnership event between Phoenix Union, the City of Phoenix, and Arizona Town Hall. And we're so proud of these students for stepping up and sharing their insights as the future workforce in our state. Thank you all for being incredible ambassadors for Phoenix Union. In October, several of our governing board members held community listening sessions about our goals and guardrails. They spent time providing an overview of the goals and the guardrails while also listening to what the community members had to say. I know as we continue to move forward with student outcomes-focused governance and the board continues to listen to our community, it will help solidify, move forward so that we can adopt our goals and guardrails for the 26-27 school year. So for those of you that did your listening sessions, thank you. All right. You may have seen recently in the news story about some of our students learning real-world workplace skills from the Phoenix Elementary School District. I want to thank Phoenix L for their partnership. They support some of our most vulnerable students by participating in paid internships that help build their resume for the future. We're excited for the growth of this partnership and the outcomes it will have for our students. Moving to the community, if you've been watching the news, obviously you know that SNAP benefits are no longer being funded by our government. I recently met with our Director of Engagement, Ms. Cindy Tesoro, who shared with me that the requests for student food boxes are up 153%. We know the need is real, and I want to assure you, any families watching tonight, that we have resources available. I want to encourage you all, and all those in a position to give, to please consider donating to a resource center. You can use the QR code on the screen or email pxu-face@phoenixunion.org. You can request resources, or you can donate using this email address, or by calling your home campus and asking just to speak to your community liaison. We have staff ready and willing to support you during this unprecedented time so that no child or family goes hungry. The next story is so important for our district, and I know you've heard a lot of it tonight, but this is just the one last time. But if you were like me, you were refreshing the Maricopa County elections page obsessively for about an hour after the polls closed on Tuesday. Phoenix Union had our M&O budget override and our DAA budget increase on the ballot. And I just want to say it was such a beautiful moment when the first batch of results came in, showing the district receiving overwhelming approval from our voters. And this vote of confidence is not something we take lightly, and we always appreciate the support of our local voters stepping up and supporting public schools. I also want to thank our PAC, our Political Engagement Committee as well, who walked, they knocked, they got up early on Saturdays, they walked in the pouring rain. We have pictures to prove this stuff. We drilled rebar, and if you've never done that, that is something you should, into the hard Phoenix desert. It's fun. And really, we just hit every street corner we could think of, and we couldn't have done it without all the volunteers out there every weekend working for this effort, and to the countless companies and community partners that helped fund this important initiative. So I just want to say a heartfelt thank you for showing us what Stronger Together looks like in action. I'm excited to share that our annual expo is this Saturday from 9 to 12:30. All families in our community are welcome to come to Phoenix College and visit our campuses to find the right fit for them. We're going to have student performances, live art displays, an esports truck. Some kids will come just for that, and many other interactive booths for families to see and all that we have to offer. We hope to see everyone there as we tackle student enrollment head on and show our community that Phoenix Union has the best and most innovative options for high school students in our state. And last, to close my report this evening, I want to highlight Veterans Day next Tuesday. As you know, our district observes this holiday, so we will be closed. But two of our very own governing board members, Clerk Oliver and Representative Marquez, both have served our country, with Member Marquez continuing to serve in a reservist role. Thank you both for your service, and I want to extend my sincere appreciation to all our military families, members at home and abroad. And with that, I close my report and hand it back over to President Napa.
Thank you. Next item is 7A, enrollment budget and next steps. Ms. Andrade.
Okay. Do we have the show up? Okay. Good evening, President Napa, members of the community. Tonight is our hope to give you a thorough update on the budget and the enrollment and really our next steps in our efforts to balance this all out. Also to communicate this to our community, be as transparent and as early as possible in this process. You may not realize this, but many districts wait until like April or May to do their reduction in force because you have that long per statute. And that is just not aligned to our values. We can't offer severance packages because we're public funds. But what we can do is get an early start to be able to see what other avenues are open to those that, that may be subject to reduction in force. I want to start by just letting everyone know that this this is not unique to just Phoenix Union. This is a national issue. I have the opportunity to meet with the Council of Great City Schools superintendents from all over the country: San Diego, Boston, El Paso, Baltimore, Portland, Chicago, New York, Anchorage, Alaska, and we all come together once a month. And I'll tell you what, the biggest topic besides the federal government opening or not opening is enrollment. In fact, we had a 4-hour session not that long ago on best practices in how to close schools. So let that sink in. That is happening across our nation. And you might ask why. Well, I will tell you that I believe it is several factors, and it's not just one. It's very unique to the community or the area. But let's start with birth rates. We know that birth rates are down, and we see that effect coming up from our partner districts, except for Levine for some reason. But most of them each class is getting smaller and smaller. Osborne shared with us not too long ago, this is the smallest 7th grade class we've ever had. So this is real and this is happening. It's just taking longer to catch up into Phoenix Union, into the high school. In some communities, rising home prices, rent, gentrification. People can't afford to live in the city anymore. My own children will not move out. Seriously, it's expensive. And yeah, right? But it's real. And what used to be an affordable place to live, right across the street even, right, is no longer as affordable. So rising home prices are also pushing our families away. Immigration. Our federal policies have shifted, and many of our families have self-opted to leave. And others may have been impacted by ICE or raids. On top of that, the number of refugees that are coming into our country has reduced dramatically. There was a time where, just in 2024, Arizona received nearly 10,000 refugees, 9,000 something, right? And a lot of them come and they relocate here in the Phoenix area. In 2025, that number dropped to 2,000. And I suspect it's going to get lower. When you think about what the limits that have been placed on refugees coming in, I think it's 7,000 now, and that's for the whole country. That's not just Arizona, that's the whole country. So when we look at why Alhambra is down a couple hundred, typically the IRC had a resettlement area right by Alhambra, and there were hundreds of kids that attended that are no longer attending. And then last but not least, we're ahead of the game, I think, nationally on this one with school choice. Some of my colleagues are now approaching me from Texas and Ohio and saying, what is this ESA voucher all about? And I said, well, I guess we're suddenly the experts in Arizona, but this is taking across the country, and it's alive and well in Arizona. While I don't think ESAs definitely impact too much of our enrollment, they definitely share the general fund for education. But again, I think this charter schools and the school choice, if you look just in South Phoenix zip codes alone, the charter ratio is unreal. So families have choices. And so as a result of all of this, you see all the stories that we just pulled, recent stories of neighboring districts, some in our footprint, like Roosevelt and Phoenix L, but then others even outside of our footprint, but not too far away, like Tempe, Scottsdale, Mesa, PV, Dysart. They're canceling transportation. They're canceling their teachers' jobs, and it's happening statewide. And for us, if we go to the next slide, I just want to take a look at our own enrollment in Phoenix Union over the last 4 years. And it's pretty easy to see which year is which because it dramatically goes down, and that last triangle is this current year. And you can see the drop is the most significant this year. Another interesting trend is we did not hit our typical high point, which we hit sometimes around, I would say week 6 to 9 somewhere. Our high point was our first day. which also speaks to just the changing trends. Last year, we lost 1,200 students. This year, 1,800. And we expect this decline. We expected it really based on our demographic report. It's not exactly on, but it's close. And with that, we're tasked with adjusting our budget to reflect the numbers we serve so that we can remain strong, solvent, and continue for future generations of Phoenix Union graduates. I cannot stress enough that we are starting this process early intentionally, not to ruin people's holidays, but to get a head start on all of the boxes that need to be checked and the options that need to be explored so that people have time to figure it out. I can't imagine doing this to someone in April or May and knowing that in a couple of weeks you're done, or even a month you're done. Figure it out. That is not enough time. So to get into a little bit more of the details around the work of the Budget Committee and how we're going to tackle this, I'd like to turn it over to our financial officer. I went through all of them. Dr. Adrian D'Alba, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Andrade, Board President, members of the Governing Board. On this slide, you'll see our enrollment trending down as well as the number of employees. As is typical, as enrollment decreases, we should have less employees. This is actually due to normal attrition, so retirements, resignations, and just movement. As a reminder, we've shown this slide multiple times, I think, to this group. The majority of our district budget, about 90% or 87%, is comprised of salaries and benefits. 8% is purchase services, then we have utilities and supplies. I would like to denote that that budget includes the $31 million for the override, so thank you very much to our community. As a reminder, over the last 2 years, the district has reduced the budget by about $14 million without affecting sites directly. These budget reductions focused on district-level budgets, such as absorbing position savings, reducing division budgets, and the superintendent restructuring and reducing the size of the executive team. The district is currently working on reducing the budget by $20 million due to the decline in enrollment. The first phase includes about $15 million comprised of positions, purchase services, and division reductions. Using the Budget Committee recommendations, the district reallocated funding to protect the classroom as much as possible. Last March, this board appointed a budget advisory committee comprised of a diverse group of teachers, counselors, administrators, support staff, and local community members. I want to thank the board for its visionary thinking and for beginning to plan next year's reductions as early as last year. This was a very smart move. Your swift action permitted the district to plan about 1.5 years ahead by strategically using reserves and minimizing the impact to the classroom and preserving quality education. Starting in March of last year, the Budget Committee met twice a month initially to learn about district budgets, surveyed and collected feedback from staff, students, and families, ultimately using this feedback to make budget priority recommendations, which were adopted earlier this year. The positions selected for the reduction in force for next year were based on feedback collected from stakeholders and priority recommendations adopted by the board. As expected, for a school district, the highest priority recommendations were classrooms, or student achievement and instructional services, followed by student support services, safety and security, and finally, facilities and operations. While salaries were also part of the recommendations from the Budget Committee, these are negotiated through the IBM process. These priorities, alongside feedback from various groups, were used as a guide to select positions for the reduction in force that will occur next year. I want to keep in mind that we're planning for next year. Given the size of the reductions, all priority areas were impacted or will be impacted. Using the Budget Committee recommendations as a guide, resources were reallocated to continue to ensure quality instruction continues in the classroom. In the next 3 slides, I'll provide a brief summary of the reductions based by site, employee group, and budget priority. The total reduction in force for phase 1 is approximately 160 employees. The majority of the reductions in force, or 55%, consist of district and DSF staff. 45% of the reductions consist of site-level, non-instructional staff. This slide summarizes the reduction in force by employee group. As you can see, about 18% of the reductions in force consist of administrators, 1% certified, and 8% classified. As a whole, this is about 6% of the total employees in the district. This slide summarizes the budget reductions based on priority recommendations. As you can see, the lowest percentage of reductions, and here the reduction is the red. Sorry, I'm not good at graphic design, but the red on the bottom actually shows the percent reduction by priority. So the smallest amount was student achievement and instructional services, followed by student support services, then safety and security, and finally facilities and operations. The majority of the budget reductions occurred in the other category, which consists of anything that wasn't included in here. For example, administrative and other areas of support outside the classroom. While these decisions are tough and it's difficult, it's important to recognize that the district is focused on reallocating its resources to the classroom, ensuring the best quality instruction for students. And now I'd like to turn it back to Ms. Superintendent Andrade.
Thank you, Chief D'Alba. Okay. I want to walk everyone through the timeline so that we're very clear about what's happening in the coming months. I will go back to October, and honestly, we could really go back all the way to March with collaboration with the Budget Committee, ongoing principals working groups, and I feel like every executive team meeting has been dominated with this topic. But in October specifically, we presented some to principals. We did a district-wide communication, both a letter and a video. And we also presented to our CEE leaders so that they could hear the message directly from their superintendent first. Here we are in November, and obviously we have the board meeting where we're trying to share once again with our community the plan. And our talent team, hats off to the talent team, they are preparing for preliminary RIF notifications and conversations. So I think it's important that you understand in the month of November, the talent team meets with all employees impacted. So they will hear and be able to have their questions answered directly from a member from our talent team. They will have support there. They will be able to ask their questions. Again, it's not that time only, but they can always revisit it. But they don't have to learn, obviously, from a stranger or from a board meeting, right, where things get published. It's our intent to bring that preliminary RIF list to you at the December meeting. And meanwhile, our team's back at work for round 2 of a smaller but continued phase of reduction. If you heard Dr. D'Alba say we've reached 15, but we realized our losses in enrollment were a little bit greater than what we anticipated, so we had to stretch to 20. So we're going to go back to the table for another $5 million in round 2. So we will be bringing to you, you bring the preliminary RIF list in December. We will bring the final one for phase 1 in January, alongside a preliminary list of phase 2 in January, with the final phase 2 list in February. It should be all somewhat wrapped up. Again, I want to emphasize throughout this process, we're following state statute, board policy, and very open to making sure we're collaborating as much as possible with our associations staying within the bounds of the law. I think we missed some opportunities to collaborate, and for that, I will own that. But moving forward, we will be lockstep with our association presidents. I want them, they're there to support and to help us with solutions. and we're all on the same team. Okay, so let's look at next steps. One of the big ones was the early notification for retirement stipend. Thank you to the IBN team. If you're out there and you were on IBN, thank you for, first of all, our retirees deserve it, right? They just put 30-something years in the system. And so I wish we could do that just no matter what. But if you were going to retire anyway, take the bonus, right? And tell us early, and hopefully that can mitigate some of the vacancies. When we talk about 160 positions, I believe that's what was identified. We know that some of them may be vacant already, and some may have already openings, like people that have put in resignations. It just wasn't the job for them. So we're hoping that that list will continue to whittle down, especially after we get some early retirements. Although typically, I believe we only count on maybe 80 to 100 retirements a year. But again, thinking about our RIF list, it's not quite just 80 to 90, but it's close. So again, we're hopeful. But we will continue to collaborate with IBN to identify additional savings that maybe doesn't come from positions and doesn't come from the cost of an employee, but comes from budgets or extra add-ons. And I want to thank CTA especially for coming together and really looking at ways that we can still compensate, but reduce budget at the same time without costing us a full teacher. Our override election, that was huge. So again, thank you to that. That saves us for going back to the table for another $30 million. And last but not least, let's not forget the positive aspect of this, the PXU Expo, where we will recruit and hold on to kids for our incoming 9th grade year. And with that, I will take any questions you have. That concludes our budget report.
Thank you. Board Member Pastor Rivera.
First, I want to begin. The teacher in me, it wants to give gold stars to all the executive staff and the budget committee for putting together all of this presentation for us. But I want to go back when we talk about enrollment, and particularly in the topic of immigration. And I want to share this story for any of my colleagues or anybody in the audience who tries to politicize this moment. This is, as Superintendent Andrade said, this is not something that's just impacting Phoenix Union. It's impacting all. As some of you guys may know, I am an educator, an 8th grade educator, probably teaching social studies. And I'm trying not to get emotional here, but just last week, I lost one of my students because of immigration. His father was deported, and he and his aunt made the decision to go back to Mexico. He texted one of my other students to tell Ms. Rivera. I said, thank you, and bye. Obviously, this is a decision. These decisions are coming up. We don't take lightly, so I ask we not politicize this moment any further. And then I'll end it with that.
Clerk Oliver, then Board Member Cota.
Madam President, Superintendent, Dr. Diabla, thank you. Because of what I do privately in the private sector, I've been doing this for a few decades. Any organization's budget is mostly comprised by salary and benefits. Full stop. It is. Because these are uncertain times, it mandates that we tighten our belts and mitigate the negative impact to our valued staff and educational abilities to teach our scholars. We know that around the country, because of the financial constraints right now facing every citizen in this country, other districts are closing their doors, declaring bankruptcy. Think about that. The inability to educate our next generation, our future for this country. How insane does that sound? But I want to say thank you to the superintendent, all of the exec team, everybody that is involved in this, the budget committee, you know, outstanding work that you all have done for controlling the controllables. That's all we're able to do. I thank you for being intentional, collaborating with our associations, because they matter, and being transparent like we are tonight with the public and, you know, our staff. And I know that we will do this with dignity and respect. And because I've done this before, I've closed down plants, and the people that I was notifying was sad because I did what our superintendent and our team is going to do. I spoke with every single person that was being affected, and they felt sorry for me. They were like, Signa, do you have to do this? And the answer is yes, I have to do this, because I am part of an organization that is affecting people's lives. We're talking about human beings now, right now, and we're talking about our future. So please, please, please understand that this is a difficult process. My heart is going out to everybody that's going to be affected, and the staff that's going to be involved. This is not the time for us to play politics, because this is ridiculous that we are here in the year 2025 in the United States of America that we proclaim is the best country on the face of the planet. We're not acting like it. We're not behaving like it, but this district will do everything it can to make sure that we do the right thing, because it's the right thing to do. Thank you, Madam President.
Board Member Kota.
Madam President, Superintendent Andrade, I appreciate this presentation very much. I think it's very informative for the decisions we're going to have to make as a board here. I kind of have one comment and a question. So I guess one of the comments, I saw some of the reasons cited that you provided, you know, declining birth rates, gentrification, immigration, school choice, but I didn't quite see safety, and I feel like that might be one of the issues as well, playing into enrollment loss within some of our schools, specifically obviously what happened at Maryville, which was tragic, and I do believe, if I understand correctly, there was an enrollment drop immediately afterwards. So I want to just make a point that I think that's probably part of the issue, and also could be part of the solution, is addressing safety issues, because that is a concern of this community. It's been brought forward several times, and also parents. Secondly, I also see this is a multi-year trend. So this is several years going, really, since COVID reopening in 2022. So it's not just there have been board members who've been here longer than others, but it doesn't really matter. This is as you mentioned, national trend. So what solutions are we looking at to try to, I would hope that we're trying to look to turn this around and increase our enrollment numbers, because that seems to be something we should be striving for as well. So that's a question I have presented here. Thank you.
And President Napa, members of the board, I think that's probably a question I'd love to answer with some more thought to it. But I agree, safety plays a role. But when I look specifically at the numbers, post-Maryville, there were a lot of transfers, certainly a lot of transfers. A lot of kids chose to go virtual. And we know that because their W code follows them as they re-enter into a Phoenix Union school. But certainly I agree that in a national trend for parents that want smaller, safer, we do have small specialty schools with seats and spaces, and we probably need to do a better job promoting that and making sure that every family knows that there's an option available if the large comprehensive is not for them. Oftentimes they can attend a small specialty school and still participate in their home school for athletics and things like that. So I recognize that, and I do think it is a trend, and it's a trend happening across the country. We need to really dig in with our partner districts, get our message out there. Our students are phenomenal. They tell a great story for us, as you see in the report every month. Our teachers and our students are top-notch. And while they don't all come to us on third base with proficiency scores, we do a really great job in growing them, and you're going to see a little bit later tonight just how much they grow and really reach their personal best while they're with us. And I'm proud of that, and we will continue to stand proud with our community who supports us as well. But I'm more than open to listening to any ideas that we have around how to increase enrollment, how to attract more families back to Phoenix Union or to Phoenix Union. Thank you.
Clerk Oliver.
I'm good.
Anything further? Okay, moving on. Next item is 7B, PXU achievement and state letter grades. Ms. Andrade.
Okay, President Napa, members of the board, tonight we're going to share what is already public, so it's kind of a spoiler alert, but we wanted to take a moment to just pause and really celebrate our schools and then kind of call some attention to where we still have some work to do. But before we even do that, I do want to take a minute to say that the Arizona school letter grades aren't really the only way we recognize schools. In addition to that letter grade, Bioscience High School, just a reminder, is ranked 15th in Arizona. Wilson College Prep in the house, they're ranked 38. Yeah, they haven't been around that long either. And let's give it up for Metro, ranked 53. Yeah. So there's other attributes out there. There's not just the letter grade. The letter grade's kind of a complex formula. But at the end of the day, this is how I simplify it. I am extremely proud of all of our schools, because I know it's not easy running a small city and keeping your eye on really tight focused best practices for every student with all the distractions that come your way, principals. I do want to give a special shout out to a few schools. Alhambra High School, they increased their letter grade 5 points. That's a lot, guys. That's a lot for a senior class. Camelback Central up 7 points. Great job. Metro Tech, once you're that high, it's hard to keep moving, but yet you did, another 2 points. Wilson, I don't know, man. You're the sleeper. Like, you came out of nowhere with a 10-point increase. Congratulations. Yeah. Trevor Brown, one of our biggest flagship schools. Like, it's huge. It is a city out there. And don't mess with the West Side. They're up 7 points in their letter grade. Let's not forget about South Mountain. They had increases of 2, and Phoenix Digital increases of 5. So that's just phenomenal. And we see you, and we know the hard work you're doing every day for your students. And to share more about that, I'd like to turn it over to Chief Tellez and Executive Director Tony Camp.
Nope. Oh, there we go. Well, thank you, Ms. Andrade, and good evening, President Napa, members of the board, and our Phoenix Union community. As you heard, tonight we're going to be celebrating around our state letter grades, and we have lots to celebrate and also lots of work to do. I might give you a pop quiz here a little bit later in regards to some of the statistics that Ms. Andrade shared with you. To begin tonight, we'd like to start with how are our schools evaluated annually. Well, most of our schools fall under a traditional model. You've got a copy of that up there on the screen. There are a total of 5 categories that are evaluated. You see the assigned percents there. So let's take a look at each of these categories a little bit more closely. Let's start with blue, which is proficiency. Anybody remember which goals these align to, the goals that you adopted? These are goals 2 and 3 related to ACT. You might remember that the state assigned score is a 19 or higher, and so this category relates to that. MSAA is actually the assessment that our special education students take, and our goal is to test 95% of our students or more. Growth is shown in green. You might remember when we were talking through the board goals that we test our students as freshmen. and then we test again as juniors. And growth is really how our students moving through that. This is a shining star for us as a district. We're really great at growing our kiddos. Again, that score of 19 or higher. Mr. Kemp's going to talk a little bit more in detail shortly. Yellow is our EL students. Anybody remember which goal this is for you? Oh, my pop quiz is failing. It's number 4. All right, good job, Frankie. Yes, so we're really excited about looking at reclassification of kids and also how we're growing and moving students. And Mr. Kemp, again, will share about this in more detail. Red is graduation. It's 20% of the school's letter grade. It might surprise you, but we actually get credit for kiddos that are graduating in 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, and even 7 years. Now, just a reminder as we look at our data this evening, this is actually a lagging indicator, and so it's 1 year behind. And so tonight we're going to be taking a look at 2024 in comparison to 2023. Purple is college and career readiness. Again, a shining star for us. It makes up the remaining 20% of the school's letter grade. This aligns to board goal number 1 that you all adopted. In your packets, we've got several different handouts for you. So your second page there, and you'll remember this from your board listening sessions, it talks through the red points and blue points. So red is our career points, blue are our college points, and then you can earn purple points, which could count for either. And so we'll be referring to those in more detail shortly. And finally, up in the box in the corner, you'll see that we do have the opportunity to earn bonus points. So for example, if a campus has a higher percent population of ESS students, we can earn some bonus points. For kiddos who make decisions to move immediately into a military experience and or some sort of post-secondary experience at the university, we get credit for that as well. So with this as context, let's take a look at our alternative schools. So the biggest difference that you'll see here is in purple, 35% for the college and career readiness instead of the 20%. And what is new is that category that says growth to graduation, which is in the orange tone. Growth to graduation means how quickly are kiddos catching up on credits to hopefully graduate with their cohort or shortly after. Our alternative schools are Bostrom, Linda Abril, Phoenix Digital Academy, and next year Desiderata will be joining them. Now, before we see how our schools performed, and even though you had a little bit of a spoiler alert, we thought it might be important to talk about what do the letter grades actually mean. So if I'm a parent and I'm looking for where I want my kiddo to go to school, I'm going to want to know how is the school performing. So if you receive a letter grade of an A, you're considered to be excellent. You can see what that criteria means. But the school is meeting at or above state averages there. B is highly performing. They're showing proficiency, particularly related to student growth, and that's higher than the state average. C is a performing school. They have some areas that are really amazing, and they also have some opportunities for growth. And just a quick reminder, in Phoenix Union, we haven't had any D and F schools in quite a while. So are we ready to see how we're doing? All right, if you want to take a look at your handouts, the handout here shows how do we exist in terms of like, where are those scores? So the bottom part is the letter grades that we already talked about, but the top part is this is not percentages, they're points. And so sometimes that's a little bit confusing, especially those of us, they're like, hey, a 70 is a C, right? So if you take a look at where the cut scores, you can see how our schools were rated this year. Can we just pause to give our schools and our campuses a round of applause? This is so much hard work, and it's really paying off. Alhambra, as mentioned, this is the first time that they are a B under this new state letter grade, and Wilson knocked it out of the park, moving to an A this year. Now, as a school district, we receive a letter grade as well, and as a school district, we received a letter grade of B. And finally, just a quick reminder, Desiderata did not receive a rating this year because this is the year that they're collecting all the data to receive that. All right, so what kinds of things account for those changes? And so if you'll take a look at the back side of the paper that I just referenced, you'll see our schools and how they were rated last year and how they're rated this year. And then the far right-hand column has some summary of changes. So let's start with Alhambra, celebrating that move from C to B category. They really had increases across the board, not just in their proficiency, which again is that ACT score, but in that growth. So how are they growing kiddos from that freshman year to their junior year? Their EL students, and let me tell you, there were a campus that has one of the highest populations of EL students in the district, and also their college and career ready indicators. Maryvale and North, they took a little bit of a dip related to graduation rate. We actually expected this. We knew that it was coming. We also know that as we get ready to move forward and take a look at the next cohort, that this will increase. And finally, Wilson, wow, they had a huge increase in graduation rate, so way to go on that. Here we're going to take a look at the last 5 years of letter grades. Keep in mind that 2019 was pre-pandemic. Okay? We had to take a hiatus a couple of years. And since 2022, none of our schools have fallen below a C. We continue to see improvement overall, celebrating the highest number of A schools that we've had in the district. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Camp to talk a little bit more about our data.
Thank you, Ms. Tejas. Good evening, President Napa, governing board members, Superintendent Andrade, and the community. It is my pleasure to go over a few celebrations of each of the categories that you just heard about and give some more accolades to our principals in the back and our schools, as well as some realities on specific categories as well. And so I'm going to start by highlighting proficiency overall, that 30% category that you see. Increasing proficiency is exactly what we want to see, and these schools deserve the recognition for their efforts. And so these are the top 5 schools that had an increase in their proficiency points from the previous year. We start with Camelback High School, who had a over 21% increase in their proficiency rate of their juniors. Give them a round of applause. Following Camelback is with a 20% increase is Cesar Chavez High School. Give them a round of applause, please, as well. Just under 20%, right at 19.4% is our Carl Hayden Community High School. Please give them a round of applause for their efforts on proficiency. Right behind them is Maryvale High School with a 16.5, yes. And finally, as you heard earlier, Metro Tech with 16.3 for their proficiency increase. Very well done. On the topic of ACT, here you see on this slide our 4-year trend of how we were doing with state proficiency. Again, as Ms. Tejas reminded us, that is a 19 on each of those related sections of the ACT exam. As you can see, we've had some slight increases over these years or decreases, but overall that growth has remained flat. And this is our reality, board and community. The intentional focus of our 1-year board goals and the hopeful adoption of 3 to 5-year board goals is obviously intended to give more focus and attention to these results and motivation for intentional improvement. While our current ACT proficiency levels and these trends over time are not where we aspire to be, they reaffirm our commitment to implementing a guaranteed and viable curriculum with aligned assessments. This approach ensures that we're not only covering our Arizona state standards as required, but also intentionally preparing them for the rigor of the ACT, including its timed endurance-based stress for our students. We recognize and own the diverse academic and linguistic backgrounds of our students, including those students that come with us where English may be their second or even their third language. Our work toward the board goals will create more intentionality, not on teaching to the test, but to prepare students designed to meet where the students are and support their growth towards state proficiency. I'd like to turn your attention to handout number 3 in your packet. You will have the overall proficiency levels for our 2 board gold areas for the last 4 years. I would like to point out that the state average this last school year, you see up here on the slide, our reading proficiency 23 and our math proficiency right at 14%. As a state, the math proficiency is 30% and the ELA proficiency is 40%. To the right of that table, you see our board goals again, and our aim is to increase our reading from 23% to 25%, and respectively our math from 14% to 16%. And again, that handout that you have there shows not just 5 years by school, but also by our student groups as a district. This next category, Ms. Tejas mentioned earlier, and so for the past 2 years, we have been able to use student-by-student data. Prior to that, the state compared cohort to cohort. So you're actually comparing two different groups of students. So for the past 2 years, the change in this calculation now has us use our growth from freshman year Aspire to junior year ACT. And so it's no longer comparing a school, it's actually comparing the student. And this is where the power comes in progress monitoring. As you've heard through student outcomes focused governance, it becomes more valuable for us and for campuses and teachers being able to drill down to that individual student level. And as a district, this remains one of our superpowers. We meet our students where they are, regardless of their reading level, whether English was their first language or not, and we grow them. And so I'd like to celebrate these schools here because from the freshman year to the junior year, these schools showed tremendous growth this last year. Carl Hayden Community High School with 14.9% increase in their growth from freshman to junior. This is where Alhambra really shined and moved their letter grade up. 14% of their juniors grew from their freshman year. Increase, excuse me, not just 14% grew, way more than that, but it's an increase, I'm sorry. Camelback High School increased by 10% from the previous year. Right behind them is Cesar Chavez High School with 8.6 and Central with 8.5. This next category I'm very excited to talk about as well. This category counts as 10% of that overall letter grade. And actually, as you can see on the top of the slide, this 10% slice of the pie actually calculates both reclassification and growth of Azella. So that should sound familiar to us because that's exactly what we did with our governing board goal. And so with those two categories, we have quite a few schools that actually received all 10 points. And that is a huge accolade. I'd like to give it up for Franklin Police and Fire, Metro Tech, Wilson College Prep, North, and Camelback. Please give them a round of applause. Excuse me. Now, what 10 points actually means is this means that those schools scored at or above the state average in both of those categories, both reclassification and growth. So they not only showed tremendous gains above the state average in reclassification, but also in growth. Shortly behind them, we have 4 schools that received 9 out of 10 points, almost perfect. And that is Trevor Brown High School, Alhambra High School, Central, and Cesar Chavez. Please give them a round of applause as well. And board 9 points, very similar to the 10. These schools are above the state average in at least one of those two categories, so either reclassification or growth. And then right behind them, 7 out of 10 points, we have 4 schools that received 7 out of 10 points. That's Betty Fairfax, Maryvale, Academies at South, and Bostrom High School. Please give them a round of applause as well. This means that they are close to or at the state average in those categories. It is also important to note that all of our schools with EL reportable data received at least 6 points in this category. This is my favorite. The next one here is our focus on college and career readiness. That piece of pie, that's 20% of that calculation. This category, both in the traditional and alternative letter grades, like Ms. Tejas talked about earlier, really shows where we're providing more opportunities for college and career readiness for our students. We have quite a few schools that you see there, and I'll name them in a second. They receive the maximum points in this category, whether it is the traditional or alternative model. We have Bostrom, Bioscience, Franklin Police and Fire, Phoenix Coding Academy, Metro Tech, and as you saw earlier, the increases overall with Wilson. Please give them a round of applause for their max points. We have 5 schools that also increased their CCRI from the previous year, major increases. And that is, again, Wilson College Prep, Trevor Brown High School, Cesar Chavez, Alhambra, and Maryvale High Schools also had major increases in CCRI. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the categories within CCRI because this is also very exciting for us. The first one you see on their ACT proficiency. We also, within CCRI, receive college and career readiness points for students that don't just score at a 19, but they actually score highly proficient on the ACT exam. And so they're scoring 22s, 24s. And these actually give those schools points as well. And I'd really like to highlight 4 schools in that category: Metro Tech High School, Betty Fairfax, Trevor Brown, and Bioscience High School. Some more highlights within our college and career readiness. As we know, the annual FAFSA campaigns that we heard about from some Stugo students earlier, those are coordinated events put on around our district, and it enhances that step towards post-secondary efforts for our students, and we've made some great gains as a district. In fact, our seniors last year, as you can see on the slide there, the seniors that graduated, 48.2% completed the FAFSA successfully, and that's a gain from the previous year of 41.5%. And so those are great gains considering we had some changes with that process the year before. You will also see the numbers for FAFSA in your handouts for all of our schools for the 2 years. I'll just point out that the state average for the FAFSA this last year, we received 48.2%. The state average was 39.9%. So we, again, exceeded that state average. Yes, that's a great round of applause to our students, to our schools. The next one I want to highlight is our diploma seal attainment of our graduates. You see that table there up on the right. During the 2024 school year, there were only 2 available diploma seals, the arts and biliteracy seals. And you can see that year we had a total of 260 seniors walk across the stage with a diploma seal on their diploma. This last school year, 2025 school year, is the first year that the civics and personal finance diploma seals were available to our students. And again, we knocked it out of the park with 470 of our seniors last year receiving diploma seals. That is a huge attribute to the district staff that oversees and supports this. Our arts seal is from our visual and performing arts content specialists. Our biliteracy seal is overseen by our EL content specialists. And our civics and our personal finance seals are overseen by our social studies content specialists. It's a lot of work to control and navigate those. And it's a great opportunity for our students to receive. You again have that handout in your packet of data to look at by school. The last one at the bottom there is a little different than students actually receiving dual enrollment credit for a class. We also get college and career readiness points for that. But this is actually a good point here because the state gives us credit, gives our schools credit for students that are actually being exposed to or experience a dual enrollment class. They may not be able to enroll, they may not be able to afford it or qualify for any of the scholarships, but they're still sitting in that class. So we consider that almost an exposure or completing a class where dual enrollment could be attained. And they actually break this down by academic and CTE courses. And so we increased those numbers from 42.6 to 52.6 in our core academic areas from the previous year. And then in our CTE areas, we increased that from 17 to 22.3%. And this not only is a result of increasing the number of teachers that are qualified to teach dual enrollment, but also strategically with our counselors, making sure that students are enrolled in those classes. A couple of schools that I'd like to highlight with that is for the academic side there, major increases are Trevor Brown, Camelback, Maryville, Metro, and Cesar Chavez. And yes, give them a round of applause. And then for the CTE side, you'll hear again, Trevor Brown, Central, Metro Tech, Franklin Police and Fire, and Phoenix Coding Academy. Great job, schools. You will also see by school the number of diploma seals in your packet that have increased from the previous year. Maryville knocked it out of the park. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about some opportunities for improvement across the district. We did a lot of celebrations, but we also, through not just continuous improvement, but intentional improvement and data dialogues with our principals, we continue to focus on ACT performance and proficiency. This area, along with our campus alignment and their district integration action plans, this is one test on one day, and it carries a lot of weight, as you can tell. And we not only work to improve the content and skills necessary for students to attain that proficiency, but also the crucial efforts for preparing students to be ready for that exhausted test environment. The growth of our students we talked about a little earlier, we will continue to work on that growth from Aspire to ACT, with the disaggregated data, the progress monitoring that we're able to drill down on for those students. and then also continuing to work on our Azella growth and proficiency through that guaranteed and viable curriculum. In terms of our grad rate, pre-pandemic, we were at or above state average, and post-pandemic, our trend dropped just about 1.5% to 2% below the state average. And so you can see the cohort 2022, as Ms. Tejas mentioned earlier, our calculations for letter grades actually use the 2024 graduation rate of all our schools. Again, in your handouts, you have the graduation rates for those 3 years of all of our schools, and you'll be able to see the changes of those. You see that this last cohort of 2024, we had a 76.7 graduation rate. The 2025 graduation rate is actually not finalized and like confirmed yet, but it does show that again we have another increase, and it can only improve from this point forward. We're at right about 79, almost 80% of a graduation rate for 2025, so we continue to improve there. And then finally, that bottom picture there, you see the FAFSA campaign or FAFSA Fiesta efforts. We will continue to work on those with our students. And as you can see, the celebration of the kids that completed their FAFSA got food. And I don't know about you, but food is always a motivator, especially for me. Tacos, if anybody is taking note. And so now, tacos? I did. Yeah. And so, finally, I want to, before I turn it back over to Ms. Tejas, I want to talk a little bit about some of the curveballs that the Department of Ed has brought out in this calculation over the last few years. We did talk about the growth from Aspire to ACT, as well as graduation rates, and so those are in effect. Those are fairly new for the last 2 years. But we also receive points for the improvement of grad rate. Whether it's 2% or more of improvement, they actually get more points. And so here's where kind of the curveball was, and they were the state was intending to actually also implement this year, but they have delayed it just to work a little bit more on the cut scores, and all the details related to the data to determine where everyone falls. I'm still going to show you what that would look like, so that we can anticipate that next year. But the state had planned on giving indicator letter grades for each of the categories that we just talked about. So not just an overall letter grade, but actually letter grades for each category. This change will be in effect next year, and the schools will also receive a summary letter grade. So let me just give you an example of what this could look like, or most likely will look like. Here on this screen, you actually see a fictitious school, PXU High School, for the demonstration. And you see those 5 categories over there on the right. And within each of those categories and the weights, we receive points for those. Those calculate down there on the bottom, and we receive an overall school letter grade. That's how that works. It's much more complicated than this, but for ease to make it as easy as possible, this visual is a good representation. After that change next year, it will look something like this. Each of those categories, depending upon not only their weights, but also the points, and the state averages of all of the schools, they will use the standard deviation to determine that bell curve and determine letter grades for each of the areas. And so this is an example of a school that may be struggling a little bit with proficiency. Their growth is a strong superpower, like we've talked about. English language learners, they earned 9 out of the 10 points. You get the idea, but here we will see letter grades for each indicator, as well as an overall school letter grade, and so we anticipate this being next year in our presentation when we talk about our letter grades. And so with that, I'm going to turn it back over to close us out. Ms. Tejas.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kemp. So we've shared with you how we're evaluated by the state, but did you know we're also evaluated by the federal government? So what you see here on the left-hand side of the screen is the state categories that we spent quite a bit of time talking about this evening, but the federal government also uses those same categories. So specifically, they're looking at ACT, our language learning students, and then dropout and graduation rates, which are included primarily in our CCRI. They have their own benchmarks, however, so those are different from the states. So occasionally we would have a scenario where a campus receives a letter grade of a C or better, and they might also be identified as school improvement. Currently, 2 of our alternative schools, Bostrom and Linda Abril, are designated as school improvement based on that federal criteria for their graduation rates needing to improve. And most recently, we received a notification that Linda Abril has a second area for improvement for proficiency on ACT, that score of 19 or higher. We'd be happy to share additional information about the federal accountability with you, board, at a future date. So as we wrap it up this evening, we're excited about the continued focus and the areas of growth that we've already mentioned, the alignment of our work between the board goals that you all have adopted and anticipating the adoption of the 3 to 5 year goals. The progress monitoring that we're doing helps keep us focused as a system. We've been fortunate to be able to host data summits with our campus leaders where we focus in on the progress monitoring data with the NWEA, our ACT data, and our state Azella test. And coming soon, we're going to have a dashboard for our CCRI data. Our collaborative teams use data at the student and the campus and course level to plan for enrichments, for supports, and how to best use advisory periods to help support our students in learning. Our commitment to the guaranteed and viable curriculum and aligned assessments continues this year. In fact, we have an assessment collaborative that's currently reviewing our systems to evaluate and create better testing cycles. That continued feedback will allow us to develop a better rhythm. I think it was Board Member Marquez that had asked about testing and over-testing and testing fatigue. So this group is looking at how to best address that. And finally, that aligned curriculum continues to support the mastery, and coupled that with the testing preparation skills that we're working on, I think we'll see some significant increases in ACT. So with that being said, Board, we are happy to open it up for questions.
Board Member Pastor Rivera.
I just want to congratulate all the principals, their academic teams, the executive team, and Superintendent Andrade for this incredible progress. Much work still needs to continue to continue that progress, but this is a reflection of all the leadership and the thoughtfulness, so congratulations to you guys for sure.
Anyone else? Board Member Meyer.
Thank you, President Napa. I just wanted to say thank you for the presentation. I know we've been seeing this a lot more, and I can see that you all are really improving in the way you're chunking down the data for people to understand if they're seeing this for the first time. So thank you for a well thought out presentation.
Board Member Cross.
I'd like to thank you for all the work you guys do. I hate data, Ms. Myers. You've made this very clear. Yeah, put a dollar sign in front, I might understand it. But you made this very easy for me to understand. Thank you very much. I also want to say that after our last board meeting, I went online and Googled, which is rare for me, results of other districts. And it was very interesting. I missed a few, but I did hit like Tolleson and Buckeye and Peoria and Glendale. And I found that the highest results was 39% passing. So then I question, is the ACT test real? I mean, so I have a lot of concerns about that. I had concerns about that when I was a teacher also. I just thought I wanted to voice it. So thank you for all the data and the clean. And I do have one question, and I know I'm a pain in the butt sometimes, but let's go back to my favorite career and readiness one. And I get confused when I read this, and I have had several people try to explain it to me, and it's still not getting through my thick skull. So it says, meet all 16 Arizona Board of Regents program of study requirements. A C or better is earned in all 16 core courses. So is that telling me that core courses like English, math, that they pass those with a C or above? That's all that is?
Correct. You got it.
So basically, it's like who's graduating. I mean, you have to have these to graduate, correct?
Correct.
Yes?
You have to have those courses to graduate. That's a prescribed course of study.
So basically, our graduation rate reflects this as well.
It's a portion of it.
Yeah, President Napa, Board Member Cross, thank you for the question. Arizona Board of Regents, each time we offer a course and we want to make sure that it counts, we have to send it to the Arizona Board of Regents for it to get approved as an ABOR course. Many of our courses, all the ones you mentioned, our core content, those are all ABOR approved. We do have some students that graduate with Ds, as you can imagine, and so it's the C or better.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. I think I got it.
Anyone else? Okay, moving on. Thank you, Ms. Tellis, Mr. Camp. Next item is 7C, Policy BEDB and Policy BEDH with potential action. Ms. Andrade.
Okay, to close us out this evening, this is really a continuation of a discussion that started at the October 18th, or was it the 17th? 17th board retreat was one of those 2 days. We really were working with Dr. Ramos, and we started talking about board agendas, and one thing led to another. Next thing you know, we're talking about a policy change, not just a discussion of let's change something, but if we are going to change or shift or look at something differently, we need to look at the policies. So as we look at policy BEDB, it outlines our agenda and how the order in which we cover items in our district. So we always start with an opening of the meeting. We go right to celebrations, reports, and then, of course, call to the public. And again, a conversation started around call to the public. When I first got to Phoenix Union, fun fact, call to the public was at the end of the meeting. And a lot of people were already gone home at that point. But since then, it's been amended, the BEDB, and it's moved up to the beginning of the meeting. But if you go to other state agencies or areas of government where they have public comment, they tend to do it differently. So sometimes they only allow you to comment on the noticed items, the ones that are on the actual agenda. At the State Board of Education, for example, if you have a comment about the letter grade formula, and that is 7A, you go up right before 7A and you say your comments. And so you don't go up at the beginning, you go up right before they're going to talk about the item that they're going to vote on. And so I think there's lots of different ways to look at our agenda, but I wanted to provide the space where all board members were present and engaged to look at what it could look like. I think we have a lot of options. Number one, we could leave it where it is. For call to the public. Number two, we could move it to the end of the meeting and be like circa 2012. We could keep it where it is only for noticed items and keep a section at the end of the meeting for non-noticed items. We could put it before every topic, which could make it longer, but that's just an unintended consequence. Quite frankly, we could have no call to the public, which I know Phoenix Union would never do, right? But it's not mandatory. So there's a lot of options out there, and I just wanted to provide the space to continue the conversation. I do want to remind people that it would impact two policies, BEDB and BEDH, which is around call to the public, and just provide the space for you all to have that conversation. So I'm going to stop talking now and hand it over to the board members.
Questions? Clerk Oliver?
Well, and guide me here on how to do this. Well, I have add-ons to you. All right, so I want to just talk to the board about a couple of things that we want to do, or I'm thinking of doing, that could help us be more intentional and effective. Not that, you know, the call to the public is it's important, but for the sake of efficiency and intentionality, It means that our Phoenix Union students, families, educators, support staff, and our administrators, they're engaged, they're watching, and they believe their voices are being heeded to and acted upon when possible. So with that said, I would just like to talk to my fellow board members about, thinking about making an adjustment to the agenda where we have, I know that was a lot of, what other bodies do. The public comments on agenda items, I just want to talk to my board members about putting that at the beginning where it is already to call to the public. But then non-agenda items, we reserve for the end of the meeting. Also, I wanted to talk to you guys about the idea I have is about groups that come up, because we do have a lot of groups that are one body, just to have them have one speaker and the whole group come up, and we give them 3 minutes instead of 2 minutes. And the last thing I would like to propose to my, for discussion for my other board members is limiting the call to the public to 30 minutes. So that we can, when people come up and talk, they know that we have 30 minutes, it's intentional, they come up with the points they need to make, and it makes it more efficient and intentional. So I'd like for my board members to consider that, my fellow board members to consider those 4 things.
I was going to suggest if you want to take them so that we could do them, you could maybe make a motion on one of them, and unless you want to just hear comments first, maybe.
Yeah, I
make
want to
a-
hear comments.
Okay.
I want to hear comments.
Pastor Rivera, did I see you? Okay. I saw Representative Marquez, then Board Member Cota. Oh,
Meyer
and
first.
Meyer, thank you.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I put it right after Board Member Pastor Rivera. Okay. I like your thoughts. I wrote them down just so I can reflect during this discussion. I also had other suggestions, not necessarily to public comment, but to the structure of the meeting for regarding some kind of things that make it less separate. Okay, to kind of explain, so like when I was first on the board, our lawyer, Miss Adams, had made like a comment just in passing. She said, oh, it's kind of funny that we all have to like leave executive session to start it and then to end it. It's like, I don't know why our board does that when we can just like lump it all together, but that requires a policy change. That was literally like the first 3 months of my board experience. And then, so that kind of stuck with me. So then now that we're looking at like amending our board meeting agenda, I think that's BEDH. Oh wait, no. One of the two that's on here.
BEDB.
Yeah, yes, BEDB. So now that we're looking at that, an opportunity we have right now is to consider grouping executive session with like our agenda items, so we have one full agenda, and that takes away the necessity for us board members to leave executive session to do the adjourning of the executive session, and then it makes it so that the adjourning would just happen at the end of the full board meeting. So it cuts off just like a couple of minutes, but if we're looking for like efficiency, that could be something to consider.
Is that in the items that we've noticed today? I'm not seeing it. Is it?
It is. It's because it's the agenda format in BEDB. It talks about special meetings and executive sessions and separates them out. And just to highlight Board Member Meyer's comment, it is very unusual. Typically, an executive session is just embedded in a regular session, and special meetings are held for really like, we didn't anticipate having a board meeting on this date, and now we're going to have a special meeting. The combination of special meetings and your regular meetings is unusual. It is. So usually you start your regular meeting, you might then immediately go into executive session, you come out into public, you confirm any instructions, you continue your meeting without gaveling out. It also creates, you don't have the need for special session meeting minutes. You have one set of minutes with the pull-out minutes for the executive session. And it does save time, and I think it's not a special meeting. It is just you're having an executive session embedded in a regular meeting. So I think it makes more sense. It's fine to do it the way you do it, but it is an unusual practice.
Superintendent Andrade?
Members, my only question to that is if we were to have a study session on, board goals in place of an executive session, because maybe we weren't discussing anything of those 9 reasons to be an executive session, that would require an agenda, right? But it'd be okay to just skip the executive session and jump right to the opening of the meeting?
Oh, yeah, you never have to have you don't have to have an executive session. You can have one.
Okay.
But, if you don't need one, then that is a special meeting. That is basically a study session, is sort of the essence of a special meeting. You are getting together for a special purpose, other than just doing your regular business, confirming the general things that you need to do. So the executive session is always optional for either a special or a regular board meeting.
Okay, Board Member Meyer, is that it?
I did have one more thing, just general thoughts, throwing this out there. What about if we think about moving up our policy, it's item 12, policy/administrative, up early in the meetings? I'm thinking more along the lines of the sections that we tend to have votes and discussion, if they happen when we're more freshly here versus sometimes it does happen like right now it's 9 o'clock and we're having the discussion. And a lot of us have longer days. Everyone here is up since 6 in the morning. So that's something I thought of how that's possible. Move the larger voting sections or make it a standard practice to just say motion to move item 7A up, something like that. So we can get the discussions and votes out of the way and then take in the presentations that our executive team prepares. So thoughts on any of that?
Representative Marquez and then Board Member Cota.
Madam President, Superintendent Andrade, Board Member Meyer, I appreciate that suggestion. I've been saying that for the whole time I've been on this board for 5 years, is that, when we have action items, they should be at the front of the agenda so that, those are the things we're voting on that night, and that should, have the most opportunity for discussion and while, folks are most engaged in the board meeting. But I guess specifically, I think this agenda item got added because there was a discussion about, are we doing public comment in the right way? I think there's probably different proposals from different board members out here. I think my thoughts after being, on the board for 5 years and seeing how public comment is done at the legislature, I think something as a framework that I would like to see is doing public comment at the very beginning of the meeting for current PXU students first, and they can speak about whatever they want to speak to us about, with it not being an agenda item or not. But if a student wants to give us public comment, I think we should do that at the very first thing we do in the meeting so that they can go home and do homework and get a good night's sleep for the next day of school. And then I would do public comment only on action items at the time that action item comes up on the agenda. And I would also give the discretion to the chair to limit that to 3 for and 3 against on the action item. So if there's 60 people that want to speak on one agenda item, the chair can say, hey, we don't have time for that. So 3 and 3, and if the chair can direct groups, if there's groups of people, to consolidate and have a spokesperson. That's something we do pretty commonly during public comment at the legislature. And then I had a third section for public comment at the end of the meeting for general public comment. If people want to come yell at us about anything, if they're willing to stick around for the end of the meeting, or I think that's the time to do it. And I wouldn't put a limit on it. I would let folks do it because I think we're public servants and we should hear what anybody wants to say if they show up to a public meeting.
Thank you. Board Member Cota.
Madam President, Superintendent Andrade, and then kind of to provide feedback to Clerk Oliver. I actually am okay with currently how it is right now with the call to the public at the beginning. I do think that call to the public, sometimes it is good to note when community comes in the beginning and they are able to provide valuable feedback for possible decisions we're going to be taking on. And I think it's good to have that at the beginning instead of differentiating. It sounds like we want to maybe just do agenda items in the beginning and then maybe a call to the public with non-agenda items at the end. But as we heard today, I think an issue came up that I thought seemed fairly pressing regarding possible personnel issues. But I also like to say sometimes we need to hear feedback that's not agenda too. And I'm well aware that that sometimes does carry on. I would like to see possibly maybe an overall limit on maybe a call to the public, but not necessarily telling people they can't speak about a certain issue that's not agenda'd. I'm not a supporter of that, and I don't even like differentiating it into two different parts. To Board Member Marquez, I mean, we aren't the legislature here. This is a little bit different, so I would say, and I do understand the legislature, they do more of a request to speak, and the chairman requests people to come and speak. And if you testify, not necessarily doing just a general public comment. So I think the process is different, and I don't think we need to actually emulate exactly what they do at the legislature, because I don't think that's the process we should have in a school district. Other school districts actually just do exactly what we're doing right now, and that's just a call to the public in the beginning. I actually probably am the one person that has gotten the most public feedback, I understand, but I actually am not for limiting that, because I do think it is good to hear. So I'm a little concerned about some of the motivations here that are calling for kind of pushing public feedback to the end. Meetings can get long, and if you have people who are waiting 3 hours to speak, you are disenfranchising the public and valuable feedback. So that is my concern with that. It is just, I'm concerned about why we're doing this right now, especially with our next board meeting coming up, where we are going to be making very difficult decisions. So I just want to throw that out there. I think we should just keep it as it is. If it's not broken, don't need to fix it. So thank you.
Oh, I saw Board Member Meyer, then Board Member Cross.
Okay, thank you. To address some of your comments, Member Coda, I feel like you've been on the board a couple of months, so you haven't been here through the grueling, several hour presentations. I know we did have, I know you did have one where it was 2 hour calls to the public. I'm also not in favor of limiting calls to the public, but I do think it's more strategic to have agenda items at the top so that members can focus and be like, oh, that's their perspective on that. And then the general one towards the end so that we can take that for consideration. And then at the end of the meeting, we also say any items for the agenda, and then that's when you can also add that too. So I'm not in favor of limiting it, but I do see the more practicality of it being separated between agenda items versus the general. And then I also think it's already standard practice in Phoenix Union that students get priority, just because we all recognize we're here for student achievement. They got to go home and do their homework. So my understanding so far, because I did talk to legal about this, would be that we wouldn't be able to put, if a student has a comment that is not on the agenda, then they are not able to go first in the beginning of the meeting. If we do this, if we separate it, they can only go first in the section that we separate it as. So that's the one con of the separation. But we also do welcome feedback emails. So it's not just only public comment. And then, so that's why. I think when I was first started as a board member, I was a little naive, and I was we shouldn't, I think I was very much it can go up to 3 hours. But now that I'm a year in and I realize oh my God, we're all here for 3 hours, and then we don't start voting on things until 10 o'clock at night, and the staff are here until that late. So I think it's important that we're strategic with our time, and then also this part of the student outcomes focused governance of being more strategic with our board, policies and practices so that we focus on student achievement. So we get to see the letter grades and we get to see all that. So those are my thoughts there. So I'm very much in favor of like being more strategic with our scheduling and timing so that we can prioritize our students in our meetings.
Thank you. Board Member Cross.
I think it was my third or fourth time here, I think I brought this subject up, especially when we had large groups saying the same thing over and over again. With that, I have to say I've stepped back in some ways on that. I have heard things at the public call, where we learned about things that we needed to know about that we would not have found out about if, in fact, we waited till the end of the meeting to hear that. They probably wouldn't have stayed around to talk about it. I like the idea of the call to the public for the agenda items being done right before the agenda is talked about, or the item is talked about, because then we get really good feedback on that particular discussion or item that we're talking about. But I've come to the conclusion that I've changed my mind, and I think that the call to the public at the beginning is good, and I am an elected official, even though I was appointed. I am an elected official, and I'm here to serve those people who want to have a voice, and especially the students in the beginning. I hate seeing students that are not doing agenda items to wait to the end. So I'm kind of sort of split between it, if you notice that I'm conflicted. But I'm gearing more towards public calls staying the same, and maybe adding the fact that they talk about agenda items right before the agenda. Did that make sense?
Board Member Pastor Rivera, then Clerk Oliver.
Arizona must have froze over if I find myself agreeing Board Member Coda, but just to tease you real quick. But this is a quick question for legal. If I'm not mistaken, so in the history of PXU, I understand that there has been one, if not two meetings I've gone over into midnight, 1 a.m. I believe one of my loved ones was a part of that meeting, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't there a policy, a part of that, where if it goes into the next day, we do have to post it or something like that? Refresh my memory.
There's no policy, but
Okay.
at some point, a meeting that goes on for so long becomes not really open to the public.
Okay.
It may be, but, if one person can stay awake at 1 a.m, then it sort of defeats the idea of it's
Right.
a public meeting. So there's no statute, there's no policy, but it's at least my view that at some point, it's just too long and you have to repost and stop because you have basically not allowed the public to come and attend.
Got you. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
Clerk Oliver.
Yeah, so maybe I misspoke, or I was misunderstood, or I miscommunicated. I don't know what that it was. But when you use rhetoric like limitation, I never meant to have it limiting public comment. I want us to be intentional about what we hear from the public at the time we hear it. I never, ever want to limit the public comments. Trust me, again, I can't go to the grocery store. I can't go to church without hearing from somebody in my community because they trust that I listen to them and it comes forth. So I never used the word limit. I said intentional and efficient. That's different. So maybe I miscommunicated. So that's what I meant when I said what I said.
Kota, did you?
I have a question, or just a clarification.
Okay, I saw you, then Board Member Meyer.
So, Madam President, actually, Clerk Oliver, thanks for the clarification. So if I understand correctly, and even maybe legal can chime in as well, we actually do have a process where if we are getting repetitive comments during public comment, that we can basically call the board president to make sure that the public comment is germane to actually what's going on. Is that how I understand it? Or we can, there seems like there's already a process that if we are getting repetitive comments over and over, because I think that might be some of the issue that's going on.
Yeah.
Or we are allowed to have some kind of limit already. So it seems a little bit redundant, the requests that have been made to maybe even put a time, because I'm really not in favor of a time limit. Let me actually be clear. Actually, our time limit currently is I'm okay with, but I want the people to always be able to speak and be able to speak freely and give us that valuable feedback, because it's necessary and it's needed every single time.
So-
I
I'm
don't want to
sorry.
I don't ever want to silence someone, even if I don't agree with them. I'm here to take my licks, and I hope the other board members here are able to take their licks too, because I think that's what we are here to do. We are here to serve. So I'm concerned about this discussion of even stifling what could be considered just having your voice heard. So, but I believe our policy, our board policy actually already states that we have we can call for some kind of limitation on it.
Sort of. So I think there's two different kinds of time limits that are being talked about. One, it's very clear that the board chair can take a look at the entirety of, like, we have 500 people to sign up, so everybody gets a minute instead of 3 minutes. 3 minutes is sort of, that's 3 or 2 minutes are sort of the norm. There is no limit generally, although I heard somebody suggest a limit for total comments, if that makes sense. So I just want to make clear that we've been talking about two different kinds of time limits. Your board policy right now says that in the event that an individual or group appear before the board to present similar information that is repetitive or substantively repetitive from meeting to meeting, the chair may direct that the individual or group submit their concerns and/or information in writing for governing board review. That's in your policy. Generally speaking, though, it's understood that under the open meeting law, the board chair can require people, you can set a time limit on the length of the comment period, sorry, thank you. But it's generally understood under open meeting law that if there are, let's say, 300 people on one side and 300 people on the other, that the board chair has the authority to say, we're going to give each side, 10 minutes, pick the 3 people you want on each side so that to avoid the repetitive nature. That's not in your policy, but it's generally understood that it's allowed under the open meeting law. So the board chair already has that authority. You could write it into policy if you wanted to. But you don't necessarily need to, as long as, I think probably for the president to know that that is something that you would support as a board, that's good, because she, again, already has that authority. While I have the microphone, I just want to bring up one other issue, which is as you modify these policies, BEDH, there we go. Subsection F, if you remember, this was in my presentation. This only allows public comment right now in person. You're not actually doing that, and so I think you should remove that and allow it both in person and telephonically or virtually. Not telephonically, that shows my age. Virtually, so that you are in compliance. As long as you're changing the policies, let's make sure that they comply with what you're really doing.
Board Member Meyer?
President Napa, thank you. Oh, I also wanted to bring some clarification to some concerns you brought, Member Coda. You mentioned that you thought the timing of this was a little off, given that we'll be talking about like RIFs in December and further on. This is just a discussion, and then traditionally policy goes through, if we do make any motions, then it would be whoever was gonna work on it will work to amend it, and then we'll go through 2 policy reads, and the policy reads happen on a month-to-month basis. So just to give it context to the timeline, it's like if we were to make any motions that we were like, okay, we agree with this, the first read would be December, then the second read would be, in theory, January. So we're not rushing anything before December, we're taking our time. And this is mostly just to get everyone's thoughts. Because this has been like a point of things that we have thought about prior to you being on the board since June. So this was already something top of mind. As Aaron has said, he's been advocating for us to move our action items for the last 5 years. And we also talked about this during the October 17th retreat, which you weren't there. So that might be why you're missing some of the context for the timeline in the meeting.
Clerk Oliver?
Yes, so I always want to think positive intent of people when they speak, but when you continue to twist my words for clicks and points, that starts to irritate me, and you finally got me, so here we go. I am not trying to silence anyone. I listen to everyone. My community comes to me. I don't have to go out and try to talk to people and get them on my side. So I no longer assume positive intent here. Stop twisting my words. I didn't try to silence anybody. I listen to people anytime they want to talk to me. And I'm just trying to be intentional and effective because I've been here almost 3 years now. And I think we need to streamline how we do because we're working on student outcome focused governance, which is not about adults, it's about the kids. That's why we're here. We're an educational system, i.e. school board. So, don't twist my words. I said what I said.
Do we have any further questions? Comments? Board Member Meyer?
I would like to see a write-up of like our suggestions so that we can think about this, since it's clear the majority of the board is interested in at least entertaining. That would be a direction, right, or a motion?
It would be a motion. You know what would be helpful for us, because, well, and us, I really mean Eileen, is I think we have some ideas, but I personally have no idea where this board is on the call to the public, and that would be really hard for us to write up without some kind of motion. I think we can easily delete, for example, the thing I just talked about. We can move board policies and administrative regulations up if we want to. If that seems like something that you could at least take a look at, that doesn't seem super controversial, but the call to the public right now, I would have no idea. There would be 10 different ways I might structure it. All of them are fine, but I think we would appreciate at least a motion so that we, maybe the motion doesn't pass. Maybe there's 2 motions that don't pass, but get some, and then we can see some alternatives. But right now, we're sort of left in the dark about that one thing, so.
Ms. Adams, experimenting with different approaches to public comment, at least as long as I've been on the board, has been a topic. And it was my understanding or impression that the board president can adjust it at any time. We actually don't have to put it into policy what it is that we want to do now, correct?
The issue is if you want to separate the two, the agended versus the non-agended, or put them at some other place, by having a policy that says this is what your agenda needs to look like, and there's a call to the public at a specific place. I mean, you could adjust it if you want, but I think that for me as a member of the public, if I were to show up, I'd want to know if I'm going to speak about an agenda item, it's here, and if I'm not going to speak about an agenda item, it's here. So could you do it? Yes. Do I think that it might be prudent if you're going to separate them to notify the public of that in advance? Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. Board Member Napa, I want to add that you'd also have to do that, you'd also have to modify policy BEDH to specify the non-agended versus agended items, because that's not contained in your policy currently.
My question, real quickly, I'm hearing, and I love that we put our students first at the top of the agenda. I know we can separate agenda from non-agenda, but can we separate students first in agenda or non-agenda? Because I thought I heard something different
Within
this
those
week.
categories, you could. So
Okay,
for
so
the
students
non-agenda,
can't just speak at any time
correct.
first.
So you would have everybody that goes in for agended items would speak all at the same time. You could still put students first. And then if you wanted to move non-agended items to the end of the meeting, you could still put students first, but that still would happen at the end of the meeting.
So in other words, students can't just be all at the front if we separated the two categories.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
What's the argument for that? I mean, why? Cannot.
They cannot be separated?
So you can separate by agended versus non-agended, and then within those categories, you can say students go first. You cannot mix the two if you're gonna do this distinction.
If we're going to do this distinction, why couldn't we do that if we're actually trying to map out what our public comment is going to be and look like?
Because you're supposed to be treating speakers all the same.
Thank you.
You can prioritize, but you're supposed to treat them all the same.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Ms. Lynn and Eileen, I mean, could we have a broad public comment policy that leaves it to the chair to determine public comment sort of every year that there's a new chair elected, and sort of the chair presents their preference for public comment? Is that one way to do it?
You could, you change your policy, obviously, but yeah, you could do that. I guess, I mean, in a sense, again, it's not a legal issue. I'm just going to say what I'm going to say is not legal, but I just think that there is some benefit to the members of the public knowing what to expect from year to year and not having public comment whiplash. So that's not legal, but if the idea is we want to make sure that we get as much input as possible from the public, I think it's fair to the public for them to understand what the rules of the game are.
Superintendent Andrade.
So going back to the students first, I understand that you can't treat different groups differently. What if we had our own category that was like Phoenix Union student public comment, and it was just for students and it was just at the top of the meeting? Then we could have their own little category, correct?
That could work.
Clerk Oliver. Oh. Clerk Oliver, I'm observing that you came with a plan. Do you now, after hearing the discussion, do you have a motion?
All right. This is a talking motion, so it's going to be fun.
Board Member Cross.
When we say students, so they are verified that they are current students enrolled in Phoenix Union, correct? Not outside students or other students from other districts.
You could certainly include that in your policy. Current Phoenix Union students is one category, then agenda, however you want to do it after that, yes.
I just want to be perfectly clear.
You're up. No, go.
Board Member Meyer.
Okay. I don't have any motions, but I'm interested in hearing what yours is. But I'm more of a visual learner, so that's why I was like wondering if we can get some of this in writing to like just kind of like not a flow map, but like some kind of like category 1 option, category 2 based on our discussions, if we're going to move with any potential action, just so I can like stare at it and think and research on my own. But that was just a suggestion of mine.
Clerk Oliver.
Actually, I do like that idea. Give us some options, if you can give us some options. And then we've already talked through it, but if we need to talk through it more, we can do that. Because the first and foremost, the students are the most important, and I want their voices to always be heard. And because of their being student scholars, I want them to be able to go home and get some sleep and get some rest. So if we could get some options, I'll delay a motion.
So I'm hearing tabling and bringing it back at a different date?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I do have a question. Do you want the other changes that were discussed to be
Yeah,
made?
can we have?
So if I can offer a suggestion, I could start drafting the changes that you have agreed upon once you make the motion. And then we can bring you back the map of the public comment as a option A, option B, up to that, for your reading, and then you can choose option A, option B, option C, if that would work.
So the motion would, does anybody want to hear what the motion might be about the things that you agree about?
Hello?
Board Member Cross, let's hear this, and let's see if you have a question after. Let's hear what Ms. Adams has to say first about the motion.
So I believe the motion would be to delete BEDHF, to revise BEDB to move board policies and administrative regulations section up closer in the meeting, to eliminate any suggestion that a special meeting must be held in order to hold an executive session, to make that more clear. And I think then with the options for the call to the public, that is it. So the motion would be, oh, what else? There's one more. Oh, and then on BEDHD, to make more clear that, that the board president has the option to control or require groups that present similar information that's repetitive or substantively repetitive to identify one or two individuals to speak on behalf of the group. Right now, it says that it's in writing, submit their concerns in writing, and I think that was the other change, that the board president has the discretion to require them to, and again, this is already in law, but if you want to change your policy, it's already understood in law, to require them to identify one or two or three speakers to represent the group as a whole.
Discussion on that motion? Oh, Board Member Cross.
Does anybody want to make that motion?
Board Member Cross, do you still have a question?
I'll move that. Make the motion to move that. My question will come after we vote on this. It's separate. So I will so move that, those changes that you just made.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion? All right, roll call vote. Do we understand the motion? Okay. Roll call vote. Board Member Cota.
No.
Board Member Cross. Representative Marquez.
Pass.
No vote or abstain?
Just pass.
Okay. Board Member Meyer.
Aye.
Clerk Oliver.
Aye.
Board Member Pastor Rivera.
Yes.
And I'm abstaining. 1, 2, 3,
And
4.
Yeah.
Member Marquez, you wanted to come back to
Yeah,
you, because
I'll-
that's not a vote. Pass.
I know, yep. Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Moving on.
Miss Debbie Cross.
Board Member Cross.
So when we get our options, one of the options will be that the call to the public stays where it's at. That would be one object. Okay.
Okay, 9J, adoption of a statement of charges in the matter of employee number 2025-26-01E. We will forego this item as it has been resolved. The next item is 12B, approval of recommendation to expel student 2025-26-02. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation for expulsion for student identified as 2025-26-02?
I so move.
Is there a second?
I second.
Motion been made by Board Member Cross and seconded by Board Member Pastor Rivera. Any discussion? All right, roll call. Board Member Cota.
Yes.
Board Member Cross.
Yes.
Representative Marquez.
Abstain.
Board Member Meyer.
Nay.
Clerk Oliver.
Yes.
Board Member Pastor Rivera.
Yes.
And myself is an abstention. Motion carries. 13A, next meeting. The next regular meeting of the Governing Board is scheduled for Thursday, December 4th, 2025 at approximately 6 p.m. 13B, request for future agenda items. Any agenda items? Board Member Meyer, then Board Member Cota. And then Cross. Board Member Maya.
Yes, thank you. I would like to review the policy BDG that's applicable to our legal counsel to get more clarity on the different roles for our district counsel and our board lawyer, to make it clear, and then any associated like legal fees.
Madam President, Superintendent, I just would like to again call for my usual, let's review our safety measures, but I actually would like to take a little bit more. I would actually would hope we can consider something like along the lines of a safety commission or a safety committee that can really take a look and tackle some of the issues that have been happening in our schools. And it's not just one issue, it's been multiple issues, and I think they're really...
Member Coda, I'm sorry, you can't, it's
so,
not on the agenda, so you can ask for the agenda item.
So I'll ask for agenda item that we motioned, or that we move to have a safety commission created to look at issues within the schools. Thank you.
Board Member Cross.
I would like to look at and see if there's any statements of intent and ROIs on adding and looking for adding the semiconductor classes. Now, the young man from Trevor Brown mentioned something about it today, but I believe that was his AI is at Trevor Brown. So I'm looking at, because we have three, whatchamacallits, I know I can't comment. I would like to look at adding the semiconductor class. I know Hamilton has it already.
Anything else? Okay, 3, 2, 1. We're now moving on to the next item, 13C, motion to adjourn. Having concluded our business, is there a motion to adjourn?
I motion.
I second.
Motion to adjourn has been made by Pastor Rivera, seconded by Board Member Cota. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.